A cute little beginner's area. Everyone's having fun leveling since the game just launched, but there's a menace hiding, hunting for his next prey. Someone with a class that shouldn't exist this early, and a quest to kill beginners. This guy's busy rizzing up the e-girl, but he's about to learn that rizz without strength is a recipe for humiliation. He gets suddenly closer and says, "Hi my bro, my name's Dex." Dude got the scare of his life, and before he could say a single word, he was cleaved in half. The players watching? Confused. Actually, more shocked than confused. They all ran, asking the same question. The game just started, so why is he soloing everyone? Rewind, day 1. The game launches, most players rush to farm. But this guy? He walked into the library. The fine receptionist and glasses mommy were confused. Why was he wasting time reading the moment the game began? They were sure this kid wouldn't last. But he didn't care, just kept asking for more books. Now look, I'm not into studying, but I become a mathematician to learn the curves on this glasses babe body. Our boy though, he's got a plan to execute. After devouring every book he could find, he uncovered a legend about a man who hid a treasure known as the oldest trace of darkness. He connected the dots, found the lake, and now we're here. It looks peaceful, but something is dormant beneath this water. Let's begin the search. He dives in. Strangely though, the lake felt infinitely deep. He surfaces, gasped for air, and his diving skill upgrades to rank B. For a second, he doubted himself. The game just opened, and right now, everyone's grinding hard. But a hidden quest, that's not something you just walk away from. So back at it. 10 days pass, boom. He acquires it after reaching rank A diving. The system warned him to think carefully before using it, but there's zero hesitation from my boy. And just like that, his class changed to Bard of Anarchy. The infamous quest popped up. But how is Dex this cracked at the game already? First, you gotta understand something. While they play to win, he's here to cause chaos. 5v1, like me and my hand. But in a single movement, the entire squad was wiped. He should be happy, but he was bored. Getting rank 1 was too easy. So he did the only logical thing. He deleted his character on the same day and dove into a new VR game, one that he had no idea would change reality itself. After his first massacre in the beginner's village, night fell. And the next victim? Already running desperately, screaming for help at the top of his lungs. Bro's so panicked he's not even watching where he's going, and he trips over a tree root and eats dirt. As he's groaning on the ground, a notification pops up telling him he's injured and his movement speed just got nerfed. He's lying there reading this BS when he slowly turns around and sees the most terrifying thing, a pair of glowing eyes in the darkness just staring at him, the thing that's been hunting him. Yeah, it's Yoon, dressed in this hooded robe looking like the goddamn Grim Reaper himself. Green Hair sees Yoon's face with this psychotic smile and completely loses his shit. He starts crawling backward until he hits a tree, desperately saying he didn't do anything wrong, he was just hunting like a normal person. Why is Yun trying to murder him? Yun doesn't say a word, just raises his sword and starts swinging. Green Hair closes his eyes, fully accepting death, but then screams out, "You think the admins are going to let this slide? Right at the start of the game? I'm reporting your ass, you bastard." Yun stops mid-swing and goes, "What did you just say? Who do you think told me to do this?" Green Hair's mind is blown, like, what the hell does that mean? But he doesn't get an answer because Yun just cuts him down right there. The kill notification pops up, letting Yun know he just got another newcomer, and his plausibility went up by 1. Our boy just yawns super loud and mumbles, "Man, I'm really sleepy." So here's the thing about Arcadia: when you die, you're locked out for a full 24 hours. It's supposed to make death feel real and force players to take breaks. Also, the ass machine won't work in real life. Meanwhile, somewhere else, that green-haired dude is absolutely losing it at customer support, screaming, "Let me back in. Why am I getting punished because some psycho decided to kill me?" Cut to the Arcadia technical support office, and these poor workers are drowning in tickets. Myung-chan is staring at his screen with the most fed-up expression you've ever seen, asking what the actual hell is going on. Another guy tells him they've been getting flooded with player kill complaints lately. Myung-chan snaps and goes, "Murder complaints, as if we didn't have enough problems. Who the hell is doing this?" And just like that, shit starts hitting the fan at the support department. Back to Yun, he's checking his status window, and it's looking rough. No level, his class is Bard of Anarchy, and thanks to that class, all of his other stats are laughable. He's staring at these numbers, thinking about how he's already murdered over 1,000 players in just 2 nights without sleep. He yawns again, realizing that killing players is way more exhausting than he thought it'd be. Plus, literally everyone hates him now, and that's actually draining as hell mentally. He's starting to wonder if this is going to come back to bite him. Since the game launched, he's basically been walking around, mercing everyone he runs into. There's no way the admins haven't noticed, but they're the ones who gave him this mission to begin with. But why, though? He pulls up his quest window, and all of the info pops up. Yum looks away and mutters that if anything goes wrong, it's on them, not him. Then he hears this weird sound behind him and turns around to find several sad-looking slimes crawling toward him. These little blob monsters look up at him all happy, making the cutest noises. A notification tells him he saved the slimes and earned their sympathy. Yun's completely thrown off and yells, "What's going on?" The slimes swarm him from every direction, happily rubbing against him like puppies. One even climbs onto him, and he actually laughs, saying he thought he only made enemies. But it looks like these little guys don't mind keeping him company. That's when he hears voices in the distance. Multiple torches appear in the forest. Yun just stares with zero emotion, pets one of the slimes, apologizes and says he'd love to hang out longer, but if he doesn't dip right now, people are going to show up, and he really doesn't want that drama. Multiple dudes with torches are searching through the forest hunting for him. One of them is that green-haired guy Yun killed earlier. Guess his 24-hour ban is up. He spots something, points at Yun, who's running away, and screams, "Found him! Move your asses!" Everyone starts chasing him. Yun is sprinting through the forest. He runs straight to the edge of a cliff and stops. Behind him is a whole angry mob, literally everyone he's killed. Greenhair's grinning like crazy, saying they've finally cornered him. There's nowhere to run except jumping off the cliff, and now he's helpless with nobody to save him. Yun just listens to all this trash talk without saying anything, then gets this idea and smiles a bit. Standing right on the cliff edge without a single ounce of fear, he leans back and just falls. The revenge mob rushes to the edge and watches him drop from this insane height. Greenhair's completely shocked, like he's insane. He actually jumped. Yun's smiling as he's falling through the air and casually logs out mid-drop like it's nothing. Fast forward a bit, and on the official Arcadia channel, someone posts a video titled "Breaking News, Gaming Maniac, All the Atrocities of the Newcomer Killer." The comments are going absolutely wild. Is this actually a game or reality? Players like this already exist, and it hasn't even been that long. Is he role-playing a serial killer? That's kind of interesting, actually. Can't wait to see what he says when he gets killed. Did he switch to warrior when he saw valuable loot? By the way, his control is insane. But why is he doing this? Does he just like causing chaos? Greenhair's sitting at his computer thinking this isn't funny anymore. He posts on the forum, "I'm one of the killed newcomers. This happened 2 days ago. After that, I started checking the forums and counting. In total, I found about 700 witness murders. This player doesn't leave the newbie hunting grounds. Looks like he's still a newbie himself. Other users are freaking out. 700 murders. Is that even possible? He can't handle 10 people at once though, right?" Greenhair responds, saying he thinks the same thing, which is why he's proposing they form a strike force to deal with this maniac. Anyone interested can DM him. Later, in the main square of the starting city, this dude's standing in front of this massive crowd of players he gathered from the forums. He thanks everyone for showing up with this dead serious expression and says they should get down to business immediately. "I declare the first meeting of the Troll Cleanup Squad officially open." Here's the thing about Arcadia's virtual world. What attracts players most is the freedom to play different roles and create their own stories. And this isn't just limited to in-game stuff either. When players from all over the world team up by coordinating on the internet, additional content that's indirectly related to the game just appears. And everything happens because of the AI controlling the game world, Alice. A system window pops up in front of Alice, large group detected, analyzing the situation. Chain quest, main scenario Act 1, Revival of Forgotten Darkness. Alice clicks on the window. Another notification, new quest being created. The exact same system window appears in front of Greenhair in the main square. And at that exact moment, every single player around him gets the same notification. The window reads, "Quest, hunt for the newcomer killer. Catch the rookie serial killer in the rookie hunting grounds." So while all this chaos is happening in the game, over at the Korean headquarters of Arcadia, some serious shit is going down. The big screen suddenly lights up with a notification about the main quest starting, and the entire scenario development team is just staring at it like, what the hell? This guy with glasses completely loses it and starts yelling, asking who the hell approved this quest to go live. Like, bro, someone's about to get fired. The dude standing next to him is trying to play it cool, saying they're looking into it, but Glasses guy is not having it. He turns to the rest of the team, and you can practically see the vein popping on his forehead as he asks if they even think they're doing their jobs properly. They just launched the game, and it's already falling apart. This stressed out manager's name is Kang Tae-hoon, and he's standing there looking at his colleagues, who are all lined up dead silent and probably praying they don't get blamed. Now here's the thing. Random quests popping up isn't always a big deal, but this one's different. One of the team members speaks up and drops another bomb. This quest is directly connected to the first act of the main storyline. Nobody expected this. Like, they just created the main scenario a couple days ago, and now the first major quest is already triggering? That's not how this is supposed to work. See, there's a difference between creation and beginning. It's subtle but important. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't expect it to sprout the same day you put it in the ground. The dev team figured it would take months for the scenario to develop enough to actually affect gameplay. But Tae-hoon's looking at his tablet, doing the math in his head, and he's like, bro, it's only been 2 days. The timeline's so off that it can't just be a calculation error. Something else is causing this mess. Then he pulls up this video on the official Arcadia channel and asks, is this the rookie killer? The guy next to him confirms it, yeah. There's this one player who's been camping the newbie hunting grounds and absolutely massacring everyone who spawns there. And apparently, this psycho is somehow connected to the main scenario, triggering early. Tae-hoon wants answers. Who's this player? Where'd he come from? What's his deal? But here's where it gets sketchy. The team tried to look into it, but someone from head office shut them down and restricted their access. Tae-hoon's staring at his tablet like, wait, the head office is protecting this random player? Why would they do that? His mind's racing now, thinking maybe this guy isn't just some random troll. Maybe there's something bigger going on here. Then he sees the kill count and literally shouts out loud this maniac killed 1,025 players in that short time frame. Like, damn, our boy's been busy. Cut to our boy who's peacefully sleeping in his bed with his dreamer device chilling next to him. Man's knocked out after grinding for 2 straight days in-game. He finally wakes up and checks the official Arcadia website, and his soul probably left his body right there. There's a special event announcement. Hunt for the killer punishment of a criminal. The game is literally calling for justice and offering rewards to anyone who can catch the rookie serial killer terrorizing the newbie zones. Yoon's reading this like, wait, what the hell is this? Then it hits him. They're hunting him. He scrolls down, sees 2,637 comments, and you can practically hear the internal screaming. The man's looking at the screen, thinking, I'm so screwed. He's considering just quitting the game entirely, maybe laying low for a while until this blows over. He glances at his dreamer device, realizing this thing wasn't cheap, and he's torn about what to do. After wrestling with his conscience for a bit, he finally logs back in. Our boy spawns on a hill, overlooking a bunch of slimes chilling in the distance. He's sitting there thinking about how the game literally created a manhunt event just for him. Looking at the slime colony, he realizes this spot, the easiest place to find clueless newbies, is now way too hot. He's going to have to relocate his hunting grounds. Just then, he hears this long sound behind him. Yun turns around and there's a slime just vibing next to him with the saddest puppy dog eyes you've ever seen. Before he can process this, he hears voices nearby. 2 players are complaining about how hard it is to hunt as a mage class, with one dude saying, I told you not to pick magician, and the other whining that he can't even kill a single slime. Then this guy with the green username anicap spots Yoon standing next to their wounded slime, and they both rush over yelling at him. They're going full Karen mode, telling him not to touch their monster, that it's not fair to steal kills, and that slime's basically dead anyway since they already damaged it. Yun just ignores them, looking down at the sad slime staring up at him. As these 2 players are running at him screaming, he slowly lifts his head and confuses them by calmly walking toward them while putting his hood up. Anicap is getting heated, asking what his problem is, while his buddy Money Shake is squinting like, wait, I feel like I've seen this guy somewhere before. Yun's just standing there with his hood up, staring them down with this serious expression. Anicap loses his patience, walks right up to him, shoves his shoulder, and yells, are you deaf or what? And that's when Yun's face breaks into the slyest smile ever. He calls Anicap a murderer at the top of his lungs, and boom, Anicap's username turns bright red. The dude's confused as hell, asking what he's doing, and Yun just drops to the ground like he got shot, screaming that he's dying and a maniac attacked him. Anicap is panicking, saying, bro, I barely touched you. But Yun's putting on an Oscar-worthy performance, screaming it's the rookie killer, loud enough for every player in the area to hear. And like moths to a flame, players start gathering, all thinking about that sweet reward money. Anicap is desperately trying to explain this as a setup, pointing at Yun, saying, if anyone looks like a maniac, it's him. But when he turns around, Yun's already booking it with the slime in his arms. The crowd of reward-hungry players doesn't care about the truth. They just see a red username and $signs. They all charge at Anicap and Money Shake, who's just realized where he recognized that evil look from the official channel video. He's screaming, it's a mistake, we've been framed. But nobody's listening. Later, deep in the forest, Yoon's sitting on a tree stump with the happy slime he rescued, saying he barely escaped that mess. He picks up the cheerful little blob, surprised it managed to follow him, and it starts rubbing against his face. He's laughing, asking if it's seriously injured. When the system drops a notification, he saved the slime from death and its sympathy maxed out. He just earned the title Friend of the Slimes. Yun's holding this slime, looking shocked at the alerts, thinking that considering how many slimes he accidentally saved by killing all those newbie players, yeah, the title makes sense. But then he realizes level 1 slimes won't cut it, he needs a real ally. That's when another notification pops up. He's accumulated enough plausibility points and earned the slime race's favor. He can help them using these points. Yoon stares at this confused until a character sheet appears showing the slime's pathetic stats. Then it clicks, and this massive grin spreads across his face. So that's what plausibility points are for. He uses his magic on the slime, confirming he wants to spend his 1,025 points even though they'll be gone forever. Somewhere in the game's cosmic space, this huge statue of the Bard of Anarchy appears, shooting a beam of pure energy right at the slime's location. The system notification pops up. All slime characteristics have been changed. Every single slime just got upgraded to level 15, and their appearance changed. Well, you guys must already know how every RPG needs those starter monsters that exist purely for noobs to beat up and feel good about themselves, right? Like, these creatures are basically walking tutorials. They're there so beginners can learn how to swing a sword without getting absolutely demolished. In Arcadia, slimes fill that role. Cute little jelly blobs just vibing in the forest, waiting to get slapped around by level 1 players. But what happens when those harmless starter mobs suddenly become absolute units that can one-shot beginners? Yeah, chaos. Pure, beautiful chaos. So there's this official Arcadia channel that posts videos with titles like trying to become op with level 1 weapons and climbing the weirdest tower ever. Basically, your typical gaming content. But then they drop a video called Slimes Too Strong. And this thing blows up 1.146 million views. People are watching, thinking it's clickbait, but oh boy, they're in for a surprise. The video starts with some dude spawning into Arcadia's virtual world, and he's geeking out over the graphics, looking at his hands and saying he can literally see the lifelines on his palms. He's checking out the forest around him when he spots a slime just chilling in a clearing, basking in the sun like it's on vacation. Our guy thinks it's adorable and decides, yeah, let me go kill this cute little thing for XP. He pulls out his sword and walks over, but then something weird happens. The slime notices him and starts making happy sounds, looking at him with this joyful expression. Then this little blob starts charging at him full speed, and our boy is confused as hell, asking what's happening. The slime straight up attacks him, and he's screaming wait, wait, wait and calling for help before the recording cuts to static. Next thing you know, there's a system message saying he died, and he's locked out of the game for 24 hours as punishment. The game literally tells him, be more careful next time. Bro got killed by a slime, a starter slime. The comment section went absolutely insane. People are asking if a regular slime actually killed him, if he's trolling, and how you can possibly die in one hit from the most basic enemy in the game. Someone admits they also died to slimes, and everyone's asking the same question, did slimes get buffed or something? Cut to Yoon. And this man's sitting there thinking about how he spent over 1,000 plausibility points to level these slimes up to 15. They're not cute, harmless jelly creatures anymore, they're menaces to society. And with 10,000 new players joining Arcadia daily, that means total annihilation for all the noobs. Fast forward a bit, and we're in the forest where there's a slime just standing there looking innocent. Someone lands a heavy hit on it, but the monster doesn't go down. This guy is losing his mind asking what's wrong with these slimes because they're taking 0 damage. Behind him, there's a magician getting chased by another slime, screaming in fear and asking why he's dying when the thing only hit him twice. They're both calling for help while Yun's just standing on a rock watching this disaster unfold. Yun's fascinated though. He's thinking about how slimes never used to attack first, they were passive mobs, but now they're actively hunting players. He's wondering if it's because of their increased stats, specifically this decency characteristic he boosted. He never realized this class feature would have such a massive impact on the game. Then Yun spots this green-haired guy who apparently organized a whole squad to hunt monsters. But instead of them hunting slimes, the slimes are hunting them. Green hair is screaming, asking why they're surrounded by regular slimes, when suddenly one jumps super high and flies at him. The dude freezes from shock and can't move, and the slime lands a devastating attack that kicks up a massive dust cloud. He screams in pain, and to the other players watching, this aggressive slime looks absolutely terrifying. The slime bounces away while the guy's body disappears, and the system announces that an enhanced slime killed a newcomer. The other players are frozen in horror, and this girl starts crying, saying the monster killed him in one hit. Then the remaining players get swarmed by a mob of slimes, all screaming for help as system messages start flooding in that the enhanced slime killed the newcomer and Yoon is earning 1 plausibility point for each kill. Yoon's watching all this with the biggest smile on his face, saying this is amazing and it turned out even better than he expected. 2 hours later, Yun's checking his stats, and he's sitting at 3,924 plausibility points. He's hyped, saying he harvested this much in just 2 hours. It would have taken him 10 times longer normally. Compared to personally killing players himself, this is way more efficient. He's not even trying to complete a task anymore. He's got a system window showing he needs to kill newcomers who haven't gotten a class yet. Current count, 4,949 kills with 3 days and 22 hours remaining. Yoon's thinking maybe he should strengthen the slimes even more, but then a system window pops up saying level 15 slimes can't be upgraded again. He's disappointed but not surprised, saying he knew it wouldn't be that easy. Then he looks down at the crowd of slimes gathered around him and figures this level is probably enough for now. He waves at them, saying he's counting on them, and these little murder blobs start jumping happily, making cute sounds. Meanwhile, at Arcadia's Korean branch headquarters, there was absolute pandemonium. Ma Young-han slams his hands on a table in front of a bunch of terrified employees. He's demanding a report immediately, and everyone's thinking he's scary as hell. This guy Tae-hun steps forward looking guilty and explains that 320 hours after launch, they discovered slime stats got massively increased, The new player mortality rate skyrocketed, and the situation still isn't stable. Myung-han asks if headquarters responded to their messages, and Tae-hun says they sent tons but got nothing back. Myung-han says he'll have to figure this out himself and asks how much stronger the slimes got. Based on the chaos, he's guessing maybe twice as strong. Tae-hun looks down guiltily and tells him that the slimes became 10 times stronger. Every single stat increased tenfold. Myung-han's shocked, asking if he heard that right, not 2 times, not 3 times, but 10? Then he realizes something and jumps up, asking how many health points players start with. Tae-hun says exactly 100 HP, and Myung-han puts it together. Slimes can now one-shot level 1 players. Myung-han gets super serious and starts walking with purpose. He's thinking this can't be a mistake or bug. Their technology is too advanced for that, but he can't ignore what's happening either. If he can't figure it out from the outside, he needs to see it with his own eyes. He walks into a room with a VR device, climbs inside, and logs into the game. System windows confirm his login as a 3rd-level administrator. He appears in the game's empty space, walking toward Alice, this girl floating in the air with a blue glow around her. She opens her eyes and looks at the executive director approaching, and he's determined to find out what the hell is going on. The scene shifts, and our boy's still camping out in the beginner zone, staring at this barren wasteland, wondering where the hell all the noobs went. A quest window pops up showing his progress, and he's thinking the rookie kill rate has dropped hard. Word got out that this place is a straight-up death trap, so new players stopped spawning here. But level 15 players started invading the newbie zones to farm slimes for easy XP, and our boy with his slime army has been taking care of that little problem. He looks down at all the bodies scattered around and thinks, yeah, this is working out nicely. The kill count's still climbing, just slower now. Then the counter hits 10,000 and freezes. A system notification pops up congratulating him on completing this incredibly time-consuming achievement. He's now officially a famous killer known across all of Arcadia and receives the title Rookie Killer. The system announces his mission reward has been upgraded to a medium reward. A treasure chest appears with medium reward written on it, and Yun's eyes light up. He's thinking, holy shit, jackpot, and smashes that accept button without hesitation. What happens next? Absolutely not what he expected. This insanely bright purple light explodes in front of him, so intense he has to shield his face. Yoon is sensing this ridiculously powerful aura and freaking the hell out, asking what's happening. Was the medium reward a trap? Why is everything glowing like he's about to have a seizure? Then this purple core materializes, radiating dark energy that feels like it could erase him from existence. He's staring at it, thinking maybe it's his reward, like some kind of demon egg or something. Suddenly, cracks start forming with these loud-ass sounds, and then boom, the whole thing shatters, releasing this massive shockwave of energy across the entire area. The system notification appears, confirming he received his medium reward. A familiar. A demon materializes in front of him, holding a glowing core and wearing the most evil smile you've ever seen. The demon looks at Yun and demands to know who the hell he is and how dare he summon him. Yun's actually excited, staring at this thing with its incredible aura, wondering who he could have possibly summoned. Then he notices something in the system window, and his brain short-circuits. The window reads, Lord of Chaos, King of Demons, Satan. Yun's reading this like, wait, the demon lord Satan? Satan's appearance shifts, and he says with a smile that apparently there wasn't enough power for a proper summoning, so he appeared in his younger form. But whatever, even like this, it won't be hard for him to kill all those winged bastards. Then Satan looks down and realizes he's literally the size of Yoon's leg. Seeing this, the demon lord absolutely loses his shit. He's screaming, demanding answers about where he is, why he's in this form, and why is he so tiny. He's yelling at Yoon for answers, and our boy's just confused, telling him he doesn't have a clue either. Satan screams back, asking if he's the one who summoned him. Yun blankly stares and says, you said I summoned you? Bro, I don't even know how to do that yet. I got a medium reward and you just appeared. You're like my familiar or something. Satan's completely mortified. He gets furious, saying this can't be happening. He's not some low-ranking demon. He's Satan. How could he become bound to a contract without his own consent? He's way too important for this. Yun's watching this tiny demon have a full meltdown and asks, so wait, you're actually a demon lord? Satan's screaming about being too old for this nonsense. He floats up and says that since the contract is already made and he's stuck as Yun's familiar, they're going to have to coexist whether they like it or not. Then this tiny demon lord just plops down on top of Yun's head, crosses his legs, and sits there looking annoyed. Yun's internally screaming, thinking, did the demon lord just sit on my head? Satan notices something and looks at Yun with sudden interest, asking if he has some kind of great power. System windows pop up, explaining he can spend plausibility points to unlock his familiar's power, but he should be careful because his familiar is a demon. Satan gets this super cunning smile and says, oh, I get it now. That's why I got dragged into this contract. He asks if he can borrow the power Yun has. Our boy's confused, so he asks what power Satan's talking about. Satan points at him excitedly, saying he means the power that can turn reality upside down that thing. It finally clicks for Yun, and he asks, "Wait, are you talking about plausibility?" Satan's grin gets even wider. A mere mortal couldn't use this power properly anyway, so Yun should just hand it over. In return, Satan will reward him generously. Yun immediately imagines mountains of gold and legendary weapons. He checks his stats, 8,975 plausibility points total. He's thinking that if the Demon Lord wants his plausibility this badly, this stat must be seriously valuable. He asks what Satan can give him in exchange. Satan's smile gets massive. He creates a purple magic circle and summons an item, saying if Yun gives him everything, he'll get this legendary level 150 robe with insane stats. Yun's mind is blown level 150 just to wear this. He heard that even in America, where the game launched 2 months earlier, no one's gotten above level 50. He tells Satan he doesn't need it right now. Satan calmly puts the item away and asks, what does he want then? Yun says he doesn't really know yet, but then an idea hits him. He asks, you can strengthen monsters, right? Satan looks confused, asking what kind of monsters. Yun says, slimes. Satan stares at him in complete disbelief and asks him to repeat that. Then he just starts laughing his ass off for a full minute straight, saying Yun is crazy and hilarious. He's never gotten a request like this before. Yun asks if he can do it or not. Satan points to himself with the most confident smirk ever and says he can do absolutely anything, then asks how much plausibility Yun's willing to give. Yun remembers his 8,975 points and says with a huge smile that he'll give Satan everything. Satan's thrilled they came to an agreement. A purple magic circle appears under them, and he announces, contract concluded. The second those words leave his mouth, storm clouds gather and purple lightning starts striking everywhere. The energy from their contract is going absolutely wild. And then it happens, a massive level 100 monster spawns right there, the Queen of Slimes. So at the same time all this is going down, we've got this group of players farming the upgraded slimes. One dude casts Fire Spear and roasts an enhanced slime, and this girl with some fancy staff starts laughing, saying how easy this is. The red-haired guy next to her is hyped, saying this bug is actually amazing, they're getting insane XP from slimes now. The mage chick says whether it's level 1 or level 20, slimes are still just slimes. They're basic monsters with predictable attacks, nothing special. The red-haired guy agrees, saying, yeah, this place isn't for beginners anymore, but for them, it's absolutely perfect. The girl's smiling, talking about how nice it is to level up in such a safe environment, and if they keep grinding like this, they might even break into Master Ranker territory. The guy's like, you seriously think so? And she says if things keep going this well, it's totally possible. Then suddenly, and I mean suddenly, the ground just starts caving. They're all panicking, screaming about what the hell is going on. And right on cue, dark energy starts exploding out of these massive cracks in the ground, and this scary as hell demonic voice starts speaking in some weird language about feeling the rage of all these innocent deaths. The dark energy is just pouring out in these huge streams, and the voice keeps going on about fighting for fallen family members or whatever. These 3 players are just frozen, watching this absolute nightmare play out in front of them. The energy blasts into a huge crowd of slimes, and their colors start changing from the normal green to this ominous purple. The voice screams something about revenge, and all these enhanced slimes that got hit by the dark energy start slowly creeping toward the 3 players. One guy's cowering behind his shield, another dude's literally flat on the ground staring at these monsters, and the girl looks like she's about to have a heart attack. The ground starts rumbling with these insane sounds, and the girl just loses it, screaming. Red hair's yelling, asking why everything's shaking, is this a freaking earthquake or what? Then he looks up and sees what's coming, and his face goes completely pale. There's this massive wave of purple slimes charging straight at them like a tsunami. He covers his head, closes his eyes tight, and thinks, we're about to die. He's screaming for help as loud as he can, eyes squeezed shut, just waiting for the end. But then nothing. He slowly cracks one eye open and looks around all confused. He realizes the slime horde is actually flying past them, heading in the same direction, and he's like, wait, what are they doing? Where are they even going? The other guy points something out, telling everyone to look. They're all seeing it now, the slimes are grouping up together. The guy asks, those are all slimes, right? Then the system notifications pop up for every single player in the entire zone at the same time. The mage girl's staring at these pop-ups, asking what kind of alerts these even are. The system message reads like some tragic anime backstory. Slimes love peace and quiet more than anything. Way back when, they used to just vibe in green meadows, living their best lives. But then humans showed up and started massacring these defenseless slimes for no reason. The slimes put up with it for a long time, but eventually they snapped. They realized if they wanted peace, they'd have to fight for it first. A bunch of slimes gave up their lives for one goal, creating a powerful ruler to lead their whole species. And just like that, a massive level 100 slime queen spawns right there. She immediately starts growling and raises her head, letting out this ear-splitting scream that's so loud it's literally sending shockwaves everywhere. The sound waves are so powerful they're snapping trees and launching them in every direction. This insane AoE attack wipes out the forest and kills a bunch of players who get crushed by falling trees. The players who survive are screaming in pain. Someone's yelling that Kellen's dead. His leg got destroyed by a tree trunk. Somebody please help him. He's dying. Red hair is running through all the fallen trees and dead bodies, looking absolutely terrified. He sees the giant slime queen standing in the middle of this destroyed forest and just freezes up from pure fear. Meanwhile, Yun's standing on a rock watching this whole mess go down, completely stunned, asking, "What the hell did I just do?" Satan's over there smiling at the slime queen, saying he powered up the slimes just like Yun wanted. Yun's like, "Bro, I asked you to make them stronger, not create a monster apocalypse." They both hear the slime queen scream again, and the wind from it reaches them even though they're far away. Yun's struggling to stand against the wind while Satan's just laughing his ass off, saying she's pissed. He mentions if this monster was even slightly stronger, she could join the demon army ranks. He keeps laughing, explaining all he did was help the slimes realize their desire for revenge, and the results were way better than expected. They even made themselves a queen. Yun looks at him dead serious, asking what kind of revenge slimes could possibly want. Satan smiles back, asking what Yun expected. He knows damn well that players kill slimes without thinking twice. Satan just helped them figure out who's responsible for all their problems, and it all happened thanks to Yun's donated plausibility power. Yun's confused, asking what he means. Satan explains that just a tiny bit of that plausibility power was enough to evolve the entire species. He makes fire appear in his hand with this evil grin, saying now this incredible power belongs to him. Back at the city, players are getting ready for war. One guy's screaming that the slimes are coming and they need to hold the line or everyone's done for. System windows pop up with main scenario plastered on them. The rookie killer hunt mission? Gone. Now it's Wrath of Slimes. Players have to stop the slimes from destroying the newbie city. Quest conditions: protect the city and kill the slime queen. Time limit: almost 7 days. If they fail and the protective crystal gets destroyed, the newbie city is gone forever. Players are losing their minds asking if this is really the main scenario. The newbie city could actually be destroyed? What happens to them if it goes down? This is insane. Then everyone hears the slime queen's roar. They all turn and see her heading straight for the city and collectively think, we're screwed. Back where it all started, Satan asks his master what's next. Yun's sitting on a cliff edge asking what he's talking about. Satan says with this excited look that everyone's busy trying to survive. If Yun sneaks into the city and destroys the crystal, he could end this right now. Yun's thinking to himself that this psycho is trying to manipulate him, but he saw through it immediately. He says he'll just watch from the sidelines for now. Satan's shocked, asking why wait. Does Yun think he's still in control? Satan gets it now. Yun wants to wait until the last second to crush everyone's hopes. He starts cackling, saying, now that's a real devil move. Yun just looks away, ignoring him. Then a flood of system notifications starts appearing, each one saying he killed a newcomer and gained 1 plausibility point. Yun watches these pop up like crazy and admits Satan has a point. He does need to make a choice between helping players or monsters. Then he smiles, asking himself which side would be more profitable. So the slime queen rolls up to the newbie town all angry. She lets out this demonic growl, and a system window pops up with her stats. Her skills include Ruler's Roar and Jump, plus she's got Swarm Consciousness, Accelerated Regeneration, and obviously a strong hatred for the human race. Everyone can see these ridiculous stats, including the suits at Korean Arcadia headquarters who are watching this disaster unfold. Myung-han's sitting there having a whole internal crisis when someone comes yelling that they need to shut down the server right now. How the hell does a level 100 raid boss spawn in a zone for people who just installed the game? Wang Ji-ha, the lead designer, is completely lost, saying she doesn't remember making this thing. The Korean team definitely didn't create this monster, maybe the main office did. Taehoon says they should report this mess immediately. Creating this monster and dropping it on newbies is straight up abuse of power. But Myung-han's just sitting there thinking, connecting the dots. First that random main scenario kicked off, then the serial killer quest, and now this Wrath of Slimes bullshit. He's got a theory forming. He asks if they remember their team's philosophy: unlimited possibilities, unlimited freedom. Could the head office have done this? Nah, every previous event was planned down to the last detail. Then Myung-han drops the absolute bomb. This is the work of one player. The main scenario, killing newbies, messing with slime behavior, even this boss one dude did all of this. His colleagues lose their minds asking if that's even possible, but when you look at all the quests in order, it makes sense. Pyonhan says if he's right and everything's because of one user's choices, they have no right to step in because that's Arcadia's whole policy, freedom over everything else. His screen shows in red. If the task fails, the city of newcomers will be irretrievably lost. Cut to the newbie city looking like a war zone. Players are fighting slimes everywhere. One warrior takes down a slime, thinking if it wasn't for the high-level players who showed up, this city would be gone. Why are there so many of these things? A slime sneaks up behind him, but another player jumps in clutch, blocking the attack. He tells the old man to bail, and they escape between some buildings. The wounded old guy is catching his breath when a blue tag pops up, guard of the Baron Guard. He thanks the player, saying he literally saved his life. The guy gives a thumbs up, saying, "Don't worry about it." But the old man gets serious, asking if he could visit after all of this mess is over. His grandfather's diary has stories from his glory days as a warrior. A system notification appears, hidden quest detected savior. All conditions are met for obtaining a profession. The guy's absolutely shook. He just stumbled onto that secret class everyone's been whispering about. The old man looks up, about to say something but freezes, staring at the pissed-off slime queen. The next 3 days are absolute chaos. Almost half the raid time's gone, and players are getting destroyed by slimes. But Korean players don't know the meaning of retreat. High-level users showed up to help defend, which started turning things around. The newbies even formed squads and fought back with strategy. Then players who killed 1,000 slimes started getting the title Slime Destroyer, a 30% protection increase and a 40% damage boost against slimes. Thanks to this buff, players started dominating, and hope came back. They planted their banner on this massive mountain of dead slimes. Yun is standing on a rock, staring at a system window. His quest update shows kill the newcomers 32,576 killed. Time remaining 1 day, 22 hours. Satan's floating next to him with this huge smile saying, "This is incredible." He's never seen such a ruthless player. He laughs and pats Yun on the head, saying he's doing amazing. Yun's thinking it's weird that Satan himself is congratulating him for mass murder. Then he stares at his 22,576 plausibility points, thinking he can't believe he racked up this many. Killing them one by one would have taken over a month. Satan asks what he's going to do unless Yun steps in as up. The humans are probably going to win. Yun looks at the city with its huge mountain of slime corpses and that banner on top. Then this evil smile creeps onto his face, and he says that's boring. He opens his inventory and equips his old beat-up cloak, throwing on the hood. Satan stares at the blood-stained cloak in shock, asking what that is. Yun smiles, looking down, saying, "Looks like it's time to pick a side." Yun turns around with this wicked smile and says, "From now on, they're siding with the slimes." Meanwhile, back at Korean Arcadia headquarters, Myung-han's in an office asking the CEO to shut down the slime quest. The camera shows her nameplate, CEO Lee Mi-yun. "Yo, what's up with this company having a lowly chairman and a baddie CEO? It's absolutely wild." So the scene shifts, and we're on the final day of this raid event, and the beginner town looks like an absolute war zone. But after a whole week of getting swarmed by slimes non-stop, things are finally calming down. Players are just vibing, chatting, and probably thinking they're about to pull off the biggest W of their lives. The timer's showing 10 minutes and 42 seconds left, and this one dude's like, "Yo, the slimes are finally backing off." His buddy with the shield is feeling himself, saying these slimes have been trying to break through for a week straight and haven't done jack to their defense. He's clenching his fist all heroic, grinning like, "Just 10 more minutes and we're golden." But then, right when everyone's about to celebrate, the sky decides to go full demon mode and turns blood red. Loud, creepy-ass sounds start blasting from everywhere, and all the players immediately freeze. Everyone's losing it, asking what the hell is happening and why the sky just went apocalypse on them. One guy's getting real bad vibes and tells everyone to stick together because something's seriously messed up. Meanwhile, our boy Yun is literally standing on top of the slime queen's head, sword in hand, with this smug-ass grin on his face. He's about to drop some major news when the shield guy tries calming everyone down, saying the sky color means nothing and time's almost up anyway, so there's no way the slimes can win now. Then they hear this absolutely massive noise that makes everyone's stomach drop. This old dude is staring at something in pure horror, muttering, "She's coming." And when they turn around, there's this gigantic slime queen just chilling outside the city walls, and her core is glowing like it's about to nuke the entire place. The game drops this whole dramatic story about how slimes have been getting their asses kicked by humans forever, and they're done being punching bags. All that built-up rage and revenge? Yeah, it forced their queen to finally show up. And show up, she does this absolute unit of a slime opens her mouth and screams. Everyone holding weapons just freezes, scared out of their minds. Then the slime queen bends down, grabs the city wall, and the system pops up with the worst possible news. Boss monster, slime queen has appeared. Time until raid end, 9 minutes, 58 seconds. Everyone's just standing there in complete shock, because what the hell are they supposed to do against that? The queen straight up rips apart the wall and reaches her massive hand into the city. But it gets worse. From her hand touching the ground, hundreds of smaller slimes start flooding out like a damn tsunami. Players immediately drop their weapons and bolt, screaming about how this kaiju-sized thing can't possibly be a slime. The shield guy tries playing hero, yelling at everyone to hold the line and stop running. He's shouting about how they need to hit her with everything magic, arrows, whatever they've got. He's like, "Why are you scared? It's just a game." But then he hears this terrifying sound behind him and slowly turns around to see the Slime Queen's massive palm coming down on him like a meteor. Man's completely frozen, staring at this hand about to pancake him, thinking, did the devs really expect us to beat this thing? The queen slams her hand down, and slime splatters everywhere. But right before the shield guy becomes roadkill, some player saves him by casting lightning magic, shooting a beam that actually hits the queen's head. This dude with long red hair stands up and yells for everyone to listen. All the newbies are shocked, but they're paying attention. The red-haired guy is standing on a rooftop with 2 girls, and he lays out the actual plan. Listen up, we only need to survive for 5 minutes. Don't even think about trying to kill this boss, that's impossible. Just keep her attention away from the crystal in the central square. If we can stop her from reaching that crystal, we win. The honor of the Korean server is riding on this. All the newbies look at each other, nod, raise their weapons, and start hyping themselves up with battle cries. Red hair keeps pumping them up, telling everyone to stop worrying about dying and just push forward. It doesn't matter if they can't hurt her, they just need to spam her with attacks from range. The crowd's getting into it, raising their weapons and shouting. Everyone's feeling hopeful, thinking maybe they can actually clutch this. Fast forward to when there are 10 seconds left, and the Slime Queen releases this massive wave of slime onto the street packed with players. At 9 seconds, she suddenly stops caring about all the weak spells hitting her. She sensed something more important. The next second, she throws this devastating punch that completely destroys the wall and sends dozens of players flying. The red-haired guy tries getting her attention, charging up this insane fire energy into his sword. He's screaming about destroying this piece of slime and launches himself at her. But then he gets blasted back by a shield that appeared around the queen. Man couldn't even touch her. But there are only 3 seconds left, so he starts laughing like crazy, yelling at the queen that she's too late, it's already over. He's straight up trash-talking this boss with 1 second on the clock. Meanwhile, back to our baddie CEO. Myung-han is still telling her to shut down the servers and put an end to the slime raid. She tells him that's impossible, saying how they're not gods of Arcadia, they are just guides. Their job is to create solutions, not delete events. Back in the game, the red-haired guy's sitting by the protective crystal in an empty square, laughing about how it's finally over, but then cracks start appearing on the crystal. He's confused as hell until he realizes Yoon took advantage of everyone being distracted and straight up stabbed his sword into the protective crystal. The system announces the crystal's destroyed and the city's wide open. Yoon acts all innocent, like, oops, my hand slipped. While the system drops the bomb, the newcomer's city has been wiped off the face of the earth forever. The red-haired guy turns around, absolutely pissed. Yoon responds by one-shotting him with his sword. Our boy's standing in the burning city, thinking about how he didn't get any points for that kill, probably because red hair wasn't a newbie. But whatever, he's already loaded with points anyway. Players start rushing to the square, freaking out about the crystal being destroyed and asking how the slimes even got there. Then they stop dead, recognizing who's standing there. They see Yoon at the destroyed crystal, and the horrible truth hits them. It wasn't a monster that destroyed the city, it was a player. The players start cursing our boy, asking him exactly what the hell is wrong with him. And then the whole mob charged at him, screaming that they need to catch this freak and figure out his username so they can hunt him down for the rest of their lives. Yoon just smiles and asks if they're serious. The guy's confused as hell, asking what he means, when suddenly the system window pops up saying Act 1 failed, the city's getting wiped off the map. The core inside the giant slime queen starts glowing like crazy, and then her massive body just explodes. All that slime starts raining down on everyone, and players are standing there in shock, trying to figure out what's happening. But then the slime on the ground starts rising back up, and players are freaking out, asking what this nasty stuff is doing. They notice it's flying upward and realize the slime's coming back together. One guy's like, please tell me these aren't new slimes, because even in raids, monsters don't just spawn from underground like this. The slime keeps gathering and starts making these creepy sounds. Then out of nowhere, this insane energy blast comes from the sky, and players are covering their faces. When they look up, there are these huge slimes everywhere, and everyone's completely shocked. The system drops this whole backstory about how slimes have been getting bullied by humans forever, but they finally fought back and won. The system says slimes now control what used to be human territory, and their queen's sitting pretty on her slime throne. Yoon's looking at her with this surprised smile, calling mommy. Meanwhile, a magic circle appears over the city, and everything gets covered in slime. The system announces the city now belongs to the slimes, and then a warning pops up for all players saying they just entered a level 80 hunting ground. One player reads it and freaks out, asking what the hell a level 80 zone is doing here. Then he hears the slimes roaring and gets terrified. Players are completely surrounded by these massive slimes, and Yoon's just standing there smiling, saying something about being a stranger among your own people. Players start running for their lives while giant slimes chase them down, and everyone's screaming in pure terror. Cut to some time later, and this girl reporter named Mikan from TVG channel is greeting viewers for gaming news. She's talking about how Arcadia, the The first multiplayer VR game blew up in popularity, but now players are flooding forums with complaints about what went down in the beginner city. Meanwhile, our boy's at home, sleeping peacefully in bed with her broadcast playing on his phone. He wakes up, stretches, and yawns, while Mikan explains how players failed to defend the location, and the beginner city turned into a high-level dungeon. She says even as an experienced gamer and reporter, this seems really weird to her. Yun wipes his face while looking at his phone, and the screen's full of comments. People are saying stuff like, "I can't believe the location just disappeared," and "Are the devs trolling us?" And "What are new players supposed to do now? Spawn in a slime lair?" Some are demanding the city back, while others mention rumors about the rookie killer being involved. One comment says the protective crystal wasn't broken by slimes but by some player, and if that's true, whoever did it is a legend. Yun's brushing his teeth reading all this, thinking he caused quite the mess and should probably lay low for a bit. He notices one user complaining about how their hidden class quest disappeared after the raid. They met an NPC who gave them a profession change quest, but the NPC vanished after the event ended. Yun thinks he was just playing by the game's rules, so what do they want from him? He's got this anarchist bard class, a demon lord familiar, and then there was that guy at the beginning who told him to create chaos. Yun tries thinking it all through but then stops, scratches his head, and wonders why he even cares. Worst case, he gets banned and then he thinks, well, forget it. I'll have to focus on the present, not worrying about what might happen. Later at university, Yun takes his seat next to some guy and thinks about how this school isn't the best, but he's still happy classes started, student life and all that. He notices the guy next to him staring in his direction while watching something on his phone. Yun glances over and sees a video of his character standing on the Slime Queen's head. He's shocked, realizing that's him, and wonders when players even recorded this. Then he notices the video has over 2 million views and gets even more surprised. He's embarrassed, thinking, why would people even watch this? They're probably making bank off monetization though. The guy notices Yun leaning way too close and asks if he wants to watch the video. Yun gets embarrassed, apologizes, and says he just found it interesting without meaning to snoop. In his head, he's thinking it's normal to be interested since he's literally the star of the video. The guy smiles, extends his hand, and introduces himself as Lim Jae-jun, saying maybe fate brought them together to be friends. Yun's surprised but agrees and introduces himself too. Jae-jun mentions the videos from Arcadia and asks if Yun's heard about the game. He explains how wild things have been. The beginner city got attacked by slimes that were weak at first, but suddenly became super strong and demolished the whole location. Yun pretends to be shocked, acting like this is all news to him, thinking this guy doesn't seem interested in him personally and just wants to talk about the game. Then Jae-jun asks if he's heard about the so-called rookie killer. This catches Yun completely off guard. He's freaking out internally, wondering why Jae-jun suddenly brought up the rookie killer and if he somehow knows it's him. So we're back at the Korean Arcadia office, where Mian's scrolling through her tablet, looking at what used to be the beginner town, and she's just sitting there like, the whole place got absolutely demolished, and now it's her problem to deal with. She takes a sip of coffee, thinking about how, yeah, they knew crazy stuff could happen in this game, but nobody expected things to go this off the rails. She does a little stretch and tries to look on the bright side. At least all this chaos got people talking about the game, right? Still though, they need to figure out what the hell happened here, and the fact that all of this was because of one player. So now she's curious to meet whoever this absolute maniac is. Well, folks, it turns out a date with a baddie costs exactly one beginner town. Cut back to the university, and Yun's having a full-blown internal meltdown, wondering if Jae-jun actually figured out who he is. Jae-jun slaps him on the shoulder, snapping him back to reality, and asks, what's up? Does he seriously not know about this legendary player? He says it's totally fine if he doesn't, and that Yun's lucky he ran into an expert like him who can explain everything. Yun's awkwardly laughing, asking if he's really that lucky, while thinking to himself, this dude just wants an excuse to show off. Jae-jun whips out his phone and pulls up the rookie killer video, telling Yun he's got to watch this because it's fresh footage directly connected to the whole beginner city raid situation. He's grinning ear to ear, saying Yun won't get this kind of insider info from anyone else. Yun's sweating now, asking how one player could possibly cause this much destruction, while internally freaking out because this guy's way smarter than he gave him credit for. He can't let Jae-jun keep digging, or he's screwed. There's absolutely no way he can let him find out he's the rookie killer. Jae-jun just goes quiet for a second, wondering if maybe he's talking too much. Right then, a teacher walks in, does that little cough thing to get everyone's attention, and says, looks like the whole class made it. He introduces himself as Professor Kim Tae-hoon, the head of computer engineering, saying he didn't want to make orientation boring, but there's some important stuff they need to know. Students start whispering to each other, one guy asking where this is even going. Kim Tae-hoon says they've probably all heard about virtual reality tech by now, everyone and their mom's talking about it. Right now, there's a straight-up revolution happening in computer engineering, and its name is Arcadia. Yoon's ears perk up hard at this. The professor keeps going, saying anyone who's actually been inside Arcadia knows that regular computer engineering just doesn't cut it anymore. After a ton of discussions, they realize the whole curriculum needs an overhaul because it can't keep up with what's happening in the real world or what students actually need. Yun's nodding along, thinking the professor's spitting facts everything they're learning feels ancient compared to VR, and that's obviously where the future's headed. Then the professor drops the bomb that starting this year, computer engineering is getting renamed to virtual reality engineering. He knows it's confusing as hell, but if they don't adapt to how fast tech is changing, they're going to get left in the dust. Later at the cafeteria, Jae-gyun's sitting down with his tray, going on about how wild that was and how nobody saw them changing the entire major's name coming. Yun sits down across from him, internally wondering why the hell they're eating lunch together now. Jae-gyun's all excited, saying the professor literally mentioned Arcadia in the lecture and how sick that is. Yun's getting a bit nervous, but agrees, thinking this dude's completely obsessed with Arcadia. Then Jae-gyun suddenly hits him with, "Wait, why don't you play?" And Yun straight up drops his food with the chopsticks. He fumbles through an answer, saying he'd love to. But the dreamer's expensive as hell. Plus, he's not really that into gaming anyway. Inside, he's screaming, trying not to blow his cover, thinking he needs to switch topics now. He throws it back, asking if Jae-gyun plays. Jae-gyun starts cracking up, points at himself, and says obviously he does his characters already pretty high level too. Yun pretends to be all impressed, thinking, thank God he dodged that bullet. Jae-gyun says if Yun ever starts playing, he'll help him level up, though it's tougher for newbies now since they spawn in random spots. Yun says he'll definitely hit him up if he starts, quietly laughing to himself and thinking Jae-gyun's actually pretty cool, even if he's a bit odd. Later in Arcadia, Satan's standing there looking annoyed as hell, asking why Yun took so damn long and how dare a mere mortal make him wait. Yun calls him Tan and explains that after the whole raid thing he didn't sleep for, like, 3 days straight and had to crash hard. Satan sighs, saying Yun's too weak, and this is exactly why he hates making deals with humans. Yun's watching him, thinking Satan obviously got bored without him around. Out of nowhere, someone in the forest screams nearby. They both turn toward the sound, and the slime queen comes sprinting at Yun trying to hug him, which completely catches him off guard. She's hugging him with the biggest smile on her face, when suddenly a massive horde of slimes comes charging in behind her, all hyped to see him. The slimes tackle him to the ground and start bouncing all over him. Yun's getting squeezed by the slime queen while slimes dogpile him from every direction, and he's gasping that he can't breathe. Satan gets pinned by one of the slimes and yells at it to get off right now because it's disgusting and he's all sticky. After everyone calms down, the slimes line up and stare at them. The slime queen bows, and a system message pops up saying she's expressing her gratitude the slime race will never forget what they did to protect them. He's now the eternal savior of the slime race. Yun's getting all bashful, waving his hand, saying he didn't really do anything special. The system announces his rank just upgraded from slime friend to slime savior, and as a reward he gets the crown of slimes. The crown materializes above his head, and he's like, wait, what? His plausibility shot up by 2,413 points, and the Wrath of the Slimes quest was just completed. Yun's staring at all the system notifications in disbelief, saying he just got an insane amount of rewards. The system message says he helped the slimes survive their crisis and thrive, they'll remember his kindness forever. He's officially their savior now. Getting recognized by the slime race gave him water agility +10 and intelligence plus physical defense +5. Yun's smiling, saying he only started playing recently and he's already stacking titles like crazy, but it'd probably be better if he kept them hidden from everyone. Satan calls out with this irritated look, asking if they can please leave already because all this purple is hurting his eyes. A bunch of slimes immediately jump on Yun, all happy, and he tells Tan, yeah, they're about to head out. The slime queen waves goodbye with the cutest expression while standing with the other slimes, watching them leave. Near the captured beginner city, Yun turns and says it's time to move on to their next objective. Meanwhile, in this gorgeous massive city built into the mountains, really loud sounds start echoing from behind the peaks. Somewhere in this pitch-black space, there's an angel whose body's radiating absolutely insane bright energy. So the beginner city got absolutely wrecked during that slime raid, but it turns out players are way more resourceful than you'd think. Almost immediately, someone dropped a whole guide on the forums about new hunting spots for beginners, apparently about 10 kilometers from where the old city used to be. There's this place called the Barony of Mikhail. Monsters aren't crazy strong, and the NPCs actually sell decent gear. Comments are full of people saying they've been chilling there even before everything went down. Makes sense though. It's the closest spot to the old city, so obviously everyone just migrated over. People are hyping it up like, yo, this is perfect for a new beginner hub, and anyone want to party up? Word spread like wildfire, and soon players from all over Arcadia started flooding in. A bit later, Yun shows up and walks into the city with a bunch of other players. One of the guards spots him and yells for him to stop, asking his name. Yun quickly hides Satan in his hoodie and says he's Dex, The guard looks him over and asks if he's also coming from the old beginner city. Yoon nods, yeah, and the guard, looking pretty annoyed, asks what the hell even happened there. All he's heard is some crazy talk about angry slimes attacking or something. Yun's thinking, so NPCs gossip with each other too? He realizes he needs to be way more careful. He explains it wasn't regular slimes where the city of Edelin used to be. There's just a massive monster spawn now, and you need to be like level 85 minimum to even step foot there. The guard's eyes go wide like, how is that even possible? He coughs and says, okay. Now he gets why there's such a huge influx of people. So Yoon's a refugee too. Huh. Just give him a second. He'll get him a permit to enter. Yun thanks him while Satan's looking around from inside the hood. Yun leans down and whispers, asking Tan why he's being so sketchy. Satan's got this annoyed look, saying this place seems familiar. Yoon asks what he means. Satan keeps scanning the area and goes, probably not important, probably just mix it up with somewhere else. Then he turns to Yun, irritated, asking why he keeps calling him these weird names. His name is Satan, and he thinks it's badass. Yun explains he calls him Tan, because his real name is so legendary it might attract the wrong attention if someone overhears. Satan's face lights up. He laughs and says if that's the reason, he's cool with it. He calms down and asks what the owner's planning to do next. Yun's confused, and Satan's got this smug look, saying he's talking about plausibility, obviously. After all, Yun's got even more points now than when they first met. A system window pops up showing he's sitting on 33,551 plausibility points. Satan says he didn't think Yun could rack up this much if you add everything together. He's basically killed like 40,000 people. So how's he going to spend all these points? If he just hands them over, Yun immediately cuts him off, saying, nah, not doing that. Satan gets pissed, saying without him, Yun won't even be able to use them properly anyway. If he voluntarily gives him the points, he'll reward him generously, he'll give him whatever he wants and help him conquer the entire continent with the items he'll craft. Hell, if he sells just one of those items, he'll never need money again. Yun says he'll definitely let him know if he needs anything, so just chill and wait. Satan's clearly upset he couldn't convince him and mutters quietly that this guy's a tough nut to crack. Yun's thinking Tan actually got him interested. The dude showed him a unique level 150 item, which is insane, but he doesn't think it's smart to rely on Satan for everything. Plus, plausibility might be way more valuable than he realizes. He should hold on to the points until he knows more about how this whole system works. More importantly, it'd be boring as hell to just have everything handed to him. Later in the city, Yoon's walking through the market where vendors are shouting stuff like, come check out my items, everything's dirt cheap. Satan asks where they're headed. Yoon says they need to scope out the city, check what's good in the market, and maybe find a solid quest. Something catches his eye. He spots a tavern packed with people. At one table, some guy's saying things aren't going well. The lord of these lands ordered them to increase ore production, and he has no idea how they're supposed to dig even more. They're already spending 24 hours in the mines. The guy with him looks stressed, saying, yeah, he's scared the miners are going to get punished if they don't work harder. Yoon perks up at the lord of these lands and starts laughing like, so that's what's going on here. Satan's looking at him like he's lost his mind, wondering what crazy scheme this dude's already cooking up. Yoon walks up to the two miners and shouts to get their attention. They turn around and Yun smiles, saying he thinks he can help with their problem. Both miners immediately light up, asking if he's serious because that would be amazing. A system window pops up with the quest to help miners extract the iron ore to help increase supplies. Satan looks at it, asking what kind of pathetic request. This is literally anyone could handle this garbage task. Yoon says he doesn't think so. Tan should look closer. They glance around, seeing players yelling, selling iron ore 20 bronze each, and selling homemade weapons. My blacksmithing just hit C rank. Satan's confused, asking what he's supposed to be looking at. It just looks like a normal market. Yun says, yeah, it might seem that way, but here's the thing, most of these people aren't NPCs, they're actual players. The demand for weapons shot up crazy high because of all the new players flooding in. At the same time, players are rejecting quests to collect iron ore because it's easy and boring. So demand for metal skyrocketed, but supply didn't keep up. Satan just stares at him blankly, saying he has no clue. Yun steps aside with this knowing smile, saying, then just trust him, he's going to like the results. He turns back with a grin, saying first, they're going to make some serious money. Meanwhile, at the Baroness's estate, she's looking at scrolls with this worried expression, thinking about how last month 1 unit of iron ore cost 10 bronze coins, and this month it's already 15. That's a massive price jump. The blacksmiths are running out of raw materials. If this keeps going, quality will tank while prices keep climbing. She needs to do something urgently. Later at Mount Fian Highlands at mine entrance number 1, Yun says they're deep enough that there shouldn't be other people around. He smiles, saying they can get started. He's counting on Tan. Satan turns around, asking doubtfully if this is really a good idea. Is he sure he wants to waste his plausibility on something this useless? Yun says just stop complaining and do what he told him. So he does his thing and summons a weapon that costs 8,000 freaking plausibility, and a system window appears with all the weapon's stats. This thing is called the Den Destroyer, a drill crafted from the claw of a demon dimension mole. And Yun needed this for its special skills that accelerate production, significantly increase resource extraction speed, reduce failure when extracting resources, and increase the chance of high-quality resources. Yun's looking at this with the biggest smile, saying that's perfect. Now they can start printing money. Meanwhile, back in the barony of Michael, the market's buzzing. Vendors are shouting about their sales and services. This girl's yelling out that she wants to buy 20 iron ore to finish up a mining quest. Some dude with green hair walks up to her, greets her all friendly, and asks if she's looking for ore for one of those repeatable quests. She turns to him like, yeah, why is there a problem? The guy laughs with this confused look on his face, saying he'd honestly advise her not to waste her time on it. The reward's basically just a tiny reputation boost with the miners, and that's it. The girl's eyes go wide, asking, wait, seriously? She thought they'd give her something actually useful. The guy waves his hand as he walks away, saying, nah, she'll make way more profit if she just mines the ore herself and sells it to a merchant. The girl bows, thanking him for the heads up, and says she'll just ditch the quest then. Standing nearby watching all this go down are two blacksmiths, Aiden and Kashim, and both of them look pissed off. Aiden's looking at everything, saying those damn adventurers bought up all the ore just to craft a bunch of garbage. Kashim agrees, saying exactly. These nobodies walk around pretending to be master craftsmen, then sigh and wonder where the hell this world is going anyway. Aiden says he's really hoping the Baroness does something about this because otherwise the whole barony's screwed. So Arcadia's economy works just like the real world. There's production and consumption, supply and demand, and imports and exports. Each region specializes in different raw materials, and depending on the season, demand for specific goods goes up or down. Right now, the most in-demand resource is iron ore. And obviously, they have to implement realism in the worst way possible, because the pickaxe still breaks after 10 swings, so the players are mad, asking, why is iron so impossible to get? A girl next to him says, yeah, iron's in crazy short supply these days, probably because there are so many blacksmiths around now. The guy sighs, all annoyed, saying he shouldn't have picked this profession in the first place. There are no materials to work with anyway. The constant shortage of iron ore on the market caused prices to spike from 10 bronze coins all the way up to 17. Iron's now 70% more expensive than before. Because of this, blacksmiths are also taking massive losses since nobody's buying weapons that got way more expensive. The girl says she gets that they're going for realistic economics and all, but doesn't he think this is a bit much? The guy says if he'd known, he would have just picked the warrior class instead. Someone calls out to them, and they both turn around at the same time. This guy with glasses asks, why don't they just mine the iron themselves? The girl smirks and looks away while the dude has this annoyed expression, asking if he's even tried doing that. Just the trip from the city to the mine alone takes over 2 hours. Plus, the actual mining isn't easy. You can't just casually get iron because your pickaxe breaks all the time. Both he and the girl say at the exact same time that basically, it's way easier to just wait until someone else gets the iron while they focus on leveling up their profession by repairing equipment. The guy with glasses listens to all this, scratches his head, and says he gets it. Everything they said makes sense. Digging in the mine is extremely unprofitable, but not for a certain idiot. Cut to our boy, and he's tearing through the mine. System windows keep popping up one after another saying he mined iron ore. He got lucky and mined several pieces of silver ore. His mining skill leveled up, resource extraction speed increased. He now has a low chance of getting rare resources. He can find hidden ores now, and his stamina went up by 10 points. Yun decides to take a break from mining and looks at all these system windows, saying that's probably enough for now. His inventory is almost full. He's staring at his inventory, thinking he's already mined so much that spending those plausibility points definitely paid off. Just then, Satan comes flying in, saying he's been looking everywhere for him. Yun asks where the hell he's been all this time. Satan's got this excited look on his face, saying he thought of something. Is he sure he doesn't want a better drill than the one he's got? Yun looks at him thinking, here we go again. Satan creates a magic circle, saying he's been thinking for a while and he's pretty sure he's got what Yun needs. He pulls out this necklace with a weird eye on it, asking what he thinks. He's willing to give it to him for whatever plausibility he's got left. The system pops up with stats. Yun wipes his face with a towel, saying he already told him he doesn't need anything. That thing can only be equipped from level 220. Why would he need a tool he won't be able to use for another 3 years? And more importantly, it's completely broken and imbalanced. If he takes this, the game loses all its fun. Satan looks embarrassed and wants to say something, but Yun cuts him off, saying if he puts that up for sale, everyone will immediately know who he is. It'd work if he sold the item to cash out and never logged into the game again, but he's got no plans to quit anytime soon. Did he explain that clearly enough? These words hit Satan hard, and he's got this hurt expression saying, yeah, he gets it. Just stop already. Yun says he wants to get back on topic. Where did Tan go? He was gone for quite a while. Satan says there's nothing interesting about it. Yun says he's still curious. Satan's eyes glow red, and he asks with a smile, so he really wants to know? Then he'll tell him. He starts cackling like a maniac, saying actually, he changed his mind, he'll tell him everything when he feels like it. He looks at Yun's inventory, saying he mined a ton of ore. He probably has more ore in his inventory right now than exists in the entire city of Michael. Yun smiles, asking if he really thinks so. Maybe. He'll mine for a couple more days and then offload it all. He's thinking with a smile that he'll rack up tons of friendship points with the miners by completing the task multiple times. Satan looks at him, asking what happens then. Yun smiles, saying the Baroness herself would get interested in him. Meanwhile, at the Baron's estate, there's a bunch of people gathered around a table, and she herself is sitting there with a pile of scrolls. The scrolls all say stuff like they're short on iron ore. With these pathetic supplies, they won't be able to fulfill orders for traders. Things are going really badly. They're afraid they'll have to close the workshop, and they're thinking about moving to another city where raw material supply is better. Mikhail's reading all this with the most stressed expression on her face. She looks at the people around her, asking what they think is causing these problems. An old man next to her says it's obvious it's all because of the massive influx of adventurers who picked the blacksmith profession. Another guy agrees, saying, yeah, and on top of that, these adventurers are novices at best when it comes to blacksmithing. They're producing extremely low-quality garbage. Obviously, they're expecting to become masters of their craft one day, but until then, they're wasting a massive amount of ore. But the main problem is that the number of miners has stayed exactly the same, despite all these new blacksmiths showing up. The whole issue is that adventurers hate manual labor. They all want to become famous. Mikhail says, as she understands it, the adventurers are the main problem. Can they force them to mine? The man with yellow hair says that's impossible, according to paragraph 1 of Article 128 of the Continental Code of Laws. Mikhail says, okay then, they'll sell ore primarily to experienced blacksmiths first. The man says that's prohibited by paragraph 2 of Article 128 of the Continental Code of Laws. She tries to think of something else but comes up blank, which is why she grabs her head, asking with serious frustration, where did this insane number of adventurers even come from? And how can they get out of this situation? Out of nowhere, a guard bursts in loudly yelling they urgently need her. Outside, a massive crowd's gathered, staring at this absolutely huge mountain of ore piled on the ground. People are shouting, this ore is high quality, and I'll pay good money. And wait, there's not just iron, there's even gold mixed in. And holy shit, is that a magic crystal? Where did all this come from? Mikhail's looking at this with total shock, asking what the hell happened. Meanwhile, Yun's sitting on a box in an alley with a bag of money, saying he wants to check it out. He's counting coins. In 3 days of hardcore mining, he earned 5 gold and 12 silver coins. In real money, that's about 500,000 won, roughly 170,000 won per day. He's thinking, at this rate, he'll make around 5 million won a month. That's solid income enough to cover rent for the capsule apartment and tuition. But he's got a feeling he could be making even more, though he'd have to set up a bunch of things first. Someone walks up asking if he's the one who brought all this ore. The voice surprises Yun, and he looks up to see Baroness Mikhail standing right in front of him. The system notifies her favor increased. Yun smiles, thinking, there she is. He looks at her with his satisfied expression, saying, yeah, that was all him. Mikhail introduces herself as mistress of this barony, asking if he'd like tea and a chat. The system asks if he accepts the Baroness's invitation to her castle, and of course this bastard does. Cut to later, and they're chilling in the Baroness's castle, just vibing across from each other. There's tea sitting in front of Yun, and Mikhail's like, yo, try this, it's some herbal stuff from Mount Fien. He takes a sip and goes, damn, that's actually pretty good. And she's sitting there all smug like, well duh, this is literally what our barony is known for. Then her whole vibe shifts, she gets dead serious and asks how long it took him to gather all that ore he dumped in the main square. Yun goes, it took him like 3 days. Mikhail's eyes go wide, she literally jumps up from the table and screams, did you just say 3 days? How the hell is that even possible? She catches herself, sits back down, and asks if other adventurers can mine that fast too. Yun's like, yeah, I seriously doubt it. She nods, saying she knew it even if you throw a massive crowd at it, something good's bound to happen eventually. But then she looks down, all disappointed, saying she gets it, but it's not that simple. She needs his help. This grabs Yun's attention real quick, and he's just waiting to hear what comes next. Mikhail says, as he probably already knows, the barony's economy is literally bursting at the seams because of all these adventurers flooding in. Then the system pops up, notifying him a special quest, just drop the Baroness's concerns. The Baron's running low on iron ore, so production needs to speed up. Yun smiles, thinking, finally, it's happening. He asks if she wants him to help recruit adventurers to work the mine. Mikhail's like, yup, you got it. Yun grins, saying he can handle that, no problem. Later that night, Yun's sitting at his computer, searching for something, thinking the Baron's request isn't going to be easy to pull off. After all, Arcadia isn't that type of game. People log in to have fun, not to do boring, repetitive tasks. Motivating them to mine ore isn't going to be easy, but our boy has a plan. All he needs to do is change how they see things first. So he created a channel and posted a video of him mining. Cut to Mapago Middle School. Some dude with this goofy happy expression asks his buddy if he is going to hop on Arcadia with them today. Hyungtak replies that he's thinking of quitting the game altogether, so that's a no. The guy's confused, asking why he stopped playing. Hyungtak drops his head on the desk looking miserable as hell, saying the game's just really weird. When he first logged in, some random psycho immediately killed him, and then the next day, the slimes somehow got way stronger. The guy remembers going, "Oh yeah, you were in Edelin back then, right?" Hyungtak gets pissed, saying after that the entire newbie city just vanished. He died so many damn times trying to get out of there. The guy smiles, saying he was super unlucky, but at least he made it to the barony of Mikhail and even became a merchant. That's pretty good, right? Hyungtak's like, that's exactly the problem. There weren't many job options, so he became a merchant, and now he's stuck with a bunch of useless skills, none of which are combat abilities. He can't even hunt properly, so now his character is completely screwed. The guy looks at him, thinking he's completely given up, and asks if he's upset just because he thinks there's nothing fun in the game besides hunting. He shows him his phone screen, saying, "Bro, check this out." He points to a video titled "Way to Make Money in Arcadia." This video was posted by Yun 11 hours ago, already has 540,000 views, and it's sitting at number 4 in the video games tab. The guy hits play, and Yun greets the audience, asking if they can hear him. He's currently inside Mount Fian. He's sure everyone's heard about this mountain since lately this spot's been blowing up in popularity. He's going to talk about iron ore mining. Hyungtak's like, "Wait, did he say ore mining? That's literally grunt work." Yun goes, "Is that what you thought? Am I right?" Then he just dumps out a massive pile of coins from his wallet, saying this is how much money he made this week. Hyungtak's eyes practically pop out of his head as he yells, "Holy crap, that's so much money. How do you do that?" The guy who showed him goes, "Pretty sick, right? Just keep watching." Yoon explains that at the start, everyone's resource extraction skill is at the lowest rank. You won't be able to mine more than 20 units of ore per hour. That equals 400 bronze coins based on current market prices. Not super exciting yet, right? That's why you have to start by leveling up the skill rank. This increases your extraction speed, success rate, and chance of finding rare stuff. Personally, he's at a rank now he finds at least one magic crystal or diamond every single day. Hyungtak shook, thinking, if he's finding magic crystals, that's absolutely insane. Seems like there's no point digging in the mine without ranking up that skill first. Yoon says now he'll show them how to actually mine ore. He'll skip all the boring routine stuff and jump straight to the good parts. After a time skip, he's standing in front of some happy merchant saying he sold all the ore he dug up that day, and later, he'll show them how to negotiate with buyers and farm friendship points. Today, he made 1 gold and 82 silver coins. Hyungtak is impressed, saying it's amazing he actually wants to try working in the mine now. So obviously, like the lying bastard he is, Yoon lied his ass off in the video. Or we can say that he used a Lloyd-approved method and conveniently didn't tell them the important details, like the mining speed he showed is only possible with a cheat item. Plus, he left out all the important details, which made it seem like anyone could get the same results. But it definitely grabbed the attention of clueless users. This video had a massive impact on Arcadia players. Crowds of people swarmed Aiden, asking for pickaxes and directions to Mount Fian. Soon enough, a whole mob of players all dressed in mining gear headed into the mine. Some guy seeing this asks why so many miners suddenly showed up here at the same time. Mikhail's laughing her ass off, saying this is absolutely incredible. She can't believe all these lazy bums are voluntarily going into the mine. Plus, there aren't just blacksmiths but adventurers from other classes too, and they asked our boy how the hell did he even pull this off. Yun smiles, saying it's nothing special, he just exploited basic human psychology. Mikhail asks what he means by that. Yun gestures with a grin, saying it's money. People will do anything for a handful of shiny coins. All these adventurers are just slaves to capitalism. Mikhail's listening but clearly doesn't get what he's talking about. She laughs, saying she still doesn't understand how he did it, but his method definitely worked. Yoon says they can't relax yet, though she still needs to make some moves. His face gets serious as he says, first, slash the miner salaries, and instead give them a percentage of the ore they mine. That way they'll be way more motivated to actually work hard, and the people just slacking off will quit real quick. Mikhail's like, that's a brilliant idea. Yun smiles a bit, thinking he just explained some basic concepts to her and she's already blown away. The Baroness clearly doesn't know jack about economics. Now it's his job to teach her how things work in his ruthless reality. Man, our boy is going to corrupt this innocent girl. Mikhail asks what they should do about ore prices. She hasn't put any restrictions on trade, and prices have shot through the roof and are still climbing. According to reports, 1 unit of iron ore already passed 20 bronze coins. Yoon says she can just ignore it. Mikhail's confused, asking why she shouldn't care. Yoon says anyone who needs the ore will buy it at whatever price. Prices for blacksmith services haven't gone up even though raw materials cost more now, right? He'd say ore prices used to be way too low, that's why nobody wanted to mine it. But if people start complaining, he pauses, and Mikhail asks if anyone's already bitching about it. Yoon smiles, saying anyone who complains can go dig the ore themselves. All it takes is wanting to do it, right? Mikhail thinks about everything he just said and goes quiet for a few seconds. Then she starts cracking up, slaps him on the shoulder, and asks if he wants to be her finance minister. She'll pay him big bucks for his services and advice if he joins her. Yoon laughs, saying that's a really tempting offer, but his adventure isn't done yet. Mikhail coughs into her hand, going, "Right, of course you're also an adventurer, my bad for asking." Yoon looks at her, thinking he's helped the Baroness out a ton, and she should be extremely grateful right about now. The time has come. Mikhail asks how she can help him, then she'll do whatever's in her power to return the favor. Yoon places a scroll in the middle of the table, thinking it's time to put his plan into action. Mikhail grabs the scroll, asking what it is. Yoon says this is his business proposal. She's like, "What kind of business proposal?" Opens the scroll, and he says he promises she'll love what she sees. One person can only make so much money, so what does it take to break past those limits? It's really simple. You need to gain power over others and climb to the top of the food chain. Mikhail's super surprised reading what's written and wants to say something but stops herself. Yoon smiles, asking, "Interesting, right?" Then he says that if she agrees to give him 10% of the profits, he'll hand over the business rights to her. So Yoon's about to become the ultimate scam artist. But first, let's flash back several thousand years to when angels and demons were straight up trying to delete each other. We got this demon flying around with his sword, and across from him is an angel wielding this massive spear. They clash midair, striking each other at the exact same moment, moving so damn fast they're lighting up the entire sky. After throwing hands for a bit, they both hover there bleeding. Satan looks at his opponent all pissed off and asks if that spear is called Muspelheim. He can't believe she got so scared she actually brought a sacred weapon. The Archangel Michael tells him she's ending his ass today. Satan, now sitting on the ground because of his wounds, can only watch in shock. He snaps awake in the present after that dream, lying on Yun's shoulder, wondering what the hell that was about. Must be because they're near that place. Meanwhile, in the square, people are asking who wants to mine iron together, looking to buy pickaxes in bulk. Satan asks Yoon what was in that scroll he gave the Baroness. Yoon turns with this scary expression and goes, "You can enter whenever you want, but leaving? That's a different story. Mining ore isn't easy if you're lucky. You'll get like 10 ores per hour at best. And that rare ore? Yeah, that mostly comes from his unique tool. Mining's a thankless job." Satan says he gets it, and Yoon asks, "But does that mean it's impossible to make money from this?" "There's one way." Satan's listening with this confused expression. Yoon says with a sly smile, "They'll sell tickets, charge money for the right to enter the mine." Satan asks how much he's planning to charge. Yoon figures people will catch on quick, so maybe 1 gold coin. Satan's absolutely shook and goes, "What? 1 gold coin? People are stupid, but not that stupid. Who would pay that much?" Yoon smiles, saying after his video, people rush to the mine. They'll fork over the money without hesitation, confident they'll make it all back. Thanks to this, he'll be raking in easy money. Satan just stares at him in shock for several seconds. Then he smiles, thinking this guy is literally a devil, zero guilt about exploiting people. He tells Yoon with a smile that he's the perfect master. Yoon looks confused. Satan politely asks him to follow. He needs to show him a place. He's confident Yoon won't regret it. Later, they stop at these massive dungeon gates. Satan laughs, saying he'd been searching for days and finally found it. While Yoon was busy in the mine, he finally remembered he's been here before. Satan smiles at the gate, saying now the angels won't be able to stop him. Yoon walks up, thinking the entrance looks abandoned forever, but the iron didn't rust and the wood didn't rot. There must be some spell on it. Satan tells him to try opening it, saying that he should be able to. Yoon reaches out, and bright energy appears. A red system alert pops up saying a strong seal's been placed so he can't enter. He doesn't have the requirements. Then another one pops up saying that he'll get a special reward if he reports back to the Baroness about this place. Our boy then turns to Tan, saying that the gate won't open because of the seal. Satan gets super pissed, yelling, "Obviously, that's why I brought you here. Stop pretending to be an idiot." Yoon asks what Satan wants. He doesn't have skills to break seals. Satan looks irritated, asking if he seriously knows nothing about his own power. He turns away, going, "Why give such a powerful tool to someone like this?" Yoon's thinking Satan's not even hiding that he'd love to boss him around. Satan turns back, asking how much does he actually know about the power he has. Yoon asks if he's talking about plausibility. Satan says yeah, creates a violet flame with his finger, and says this is a force beyond divine power. It can do anything, upset the world's balance, change the nature of things, and control the environment. It's closest to the power of creation itself. He creates a crystal in Yoon's hand. Satan asks if he understands now. Yun's quiet, thinking it over, then raises his head with this blank expression and goes, "I didn't really understand any of that." Satan's furious, yelling that he can do absolutely anything, basically anything. 10 minutes later, Yun asks if plausibility is needed for entities like Satan to interact with reality. Satan says it builds up super slowly in tiny amounts. He doesn't know how, but Yun's strength is accumulating at an insane speed. The plausibility he got after making a contract with Yun would have taken him 500 years to gather normally. Yun thinks that's why Satan wants his plausibility points so badly. Satan smiles, saying whether it's a seal or whatever, the angels made sure regular people couldn't enter. Yun thinks this place must be way more important than he realized. Satan says it doesn't matter with the power at his disposal, some seal is literally nothing. He's just thinking about it wrong. He grins evilly, saying Yun just has to want to do it. Satan tells him to try again, but this time have a clear intention to open it. The system notifies him, the seal's reacting to his power using plausibility, he can bypass the conditions. Does he want to break it? Though it'll take 15,000 plausibility points to dispel the seal, Yun thinks for that amount he could get 2 unique items. But why else would he need plausibility if not for stuff like this? He says with a smile it should open. The system absorbed 15,000 plausibility points. The seal was removed. He discovered an unidentified divine altar. Satan looks at the opening gates with a smile, saying, "Here's the lair of these holy freaks our boy enters." And a notification pops up that he has discovered the stairway to heaven. So back in the great war between demons and angels, the continent of Arcadia became one massive bloodbath for these higher beings, and pretty soon the whole place was literally painted red. If it wasn't for the World Tree's protection, every mortal would have been wiped out. 1,000 years later, that horrific war still haunts everyone's nightmares. People prayed then and are still praying that shit never happens again. The system pops up, telling Yun to pay attention. He's invaded the Stairway to Heaven location. An error occurred, the activation trigger for a mystical rank task was affected. The system window showing the error turns red and starts glitching the hell out. Meanwhile, at the Korean Arcadia office, several people are sitting at a table when an error notification shows up on the big screen. Taehyun adjusts his glasses, saying an emergency meeting is starting. He knows everyone's exhausted with a ton of problems already, but this is extremely important. All the other workers look dead tired, and there's this super dark atmosphere in the office. Jai asks what else happened. She was hoping to finally go home and shower. Someone else says only a few days have passed since the newbie city situation. They need a day off. Taehyun says exactly 32 minutes ago, the trigger for the mystical task was mistakenly activated. By checking related tasks, he found out what happened is connected to something hidden in Mount Fien. The details are on page 3, they should check it out. All the workers immediately grab their tablets. Min Chang looks at it, asking if that means Mount Fien is also in the angel's domain. He didn't even know about this. Taehyun says none of them knew before today's incident. He'll explain the discovered storyline. In the past, Mount Fien was called the Stairway to Heaven because that's where angels first came down to the continent, and all that ore was meant to protect the stairs from outsiders. Simply put, this mountain has the entrance to the angel's dimension. Myonhan's reading carefully and says, this game's full of mysteries, aren't there plot threads that weren't even initially planned? Though that's not important right now. What's the name of this mystical task? Taehyun says that question needs clarification. They've looked at related tasks, and given the error, this probably isn't accurate. But Myonhan cuts him off, saying, just spit it out already, what kind of task is this? Taehyun says with this worried expression that it's the second great war of angels and demons. Hearing that, Myonhan goes, what did you just say? At the same time, Yun passes through the gate and enters the protected room. He looks around surprised, saying, so this is the stairway to heaven. Meanwhile, Satan is busy cacking and laughing like a maniac. Asking how that is for these freaks with feathers, he said one day he'd reach them again. He flies forward super happy, loudly telling our boy that they need to go deal with these bastards together, they'll ruin all their plans. Yun, way less hyped, agrees, saying, yeah, of course. They climb to this platform with some object on it, and Yun asks if Satan's saying there's treasure hidden here. Satan says that's exactly right, he should have opened it by now. Yun reaches for the item when system windows pop up saying this text is written in an unknown language, so there's no way to decipher it. An entity that knows ancient languages can decode this. Just then he got hit with another quest. Yun looks at the device while magic particles float around him, thinking it's super interesting, but can he just take it? Well, he's sure that's not going to be easy. Then he remembered how the system said he'd get a special reward just by reporting the ruins to the Baroness. Satan quickly smacks him on the head, asking why he stopped open it faster. Yun brushes him off, saying wait and give him time to think. If he didn't know the backstory, he'd probably already be heading to the Baroness and would have forgotten about these ruins. But after Satan's story, he just can't leave everything as is. Though he is also concerned that Baroness Mikhail will never find a reward more valuable than an artifact from the Stairway to Heaven. Yun thinks more importantly, he opened this location with plausibility points, basically making him a tomb robber. If he tells someone else, Questions might come up. Maybe it's better to just keep it secret. He turns around, telling Satan that he's ready to open it. Satan's super happy, saying that's the right attitude, he believes he'll succeed. Well, it was easier said than done because cut to 10 minutes later, and both of them couldn't make the damn thing move an inch. So now Tan is getting angry at our boy, asking him what the hell he is doing and yelling at him to use more strength. Yun gets super pissed, saying he's already trying his best. Well, cut to a few moments later, and they still couldn't open the lid and are now super tired. Now he regrets not pumping up his strength stat. Satan fell to the ground next to him, saying if he were in his true form, one little finger would be enough to lift this lid. Now he's thinking about how he went through so much only to get stuck at some coffin lid. And this isn't even a sacred seal or magical barrier, just a heavy stone. Yun pays attention to his words about it just being stone and starts thinking. He asks if Satan's sure there's actually treasure in there. Satan turns with this annoyed look, saying he already told him there's definitely something valuable. Does Yun think he'd try this hard for nothing? Yun puts on the glasses he wore while mining and says in that case he has no choice. He summons his item, and the system notifies him he equipped the Den Destroyer. Satan's super embarrassed and is about to say something. Yun tells him this lid won't budge any other way, he's simply left with no choice. He climbs onto the coffin lid, channels energy into his drill, and says with a smile that in moments like these, destruction is the only right solution. He plunges his drill into the coffin lid and starts destroying it. Satan looks at him, saying how humans are even worse than demons. Cut to a few seconds later, and our boy had completely destroyed the coffin, and a system window pops up to inform him of his extraordinary achievement and also tell him to be wary of the angels from now on because, thanks to what he just did, he's on their hit list now. They see a skeleton lying in the coffin, and he asks if this is the treasure. He tells Satan he should have warned him about what exactly would be inside. He's not a saint or anything, but destroying someone's sarcophagus is a bit much. Satan asked if that means he wouldn't have touched the tomb otherwise. He didn't expect such piety from him. He apologizes. Yun asks what's so valuable about this sarcophagus. They should only take the essentials. He doesn't want to steal everything the deceased had. Satan laughs, saying he had already prepared an answer. He points to the corpse and says they're taking the necklace. Satan's looking at it with this huge smile, thinking it's a sacred necklace the angels have been saving for the future. Yun takes the item, and the system notifies him he received a shining heavenly medallion. Holy energy reacts to it. Suddenly, this necklace rises up while he's holding it and starts emitting this super bright energy, which completely surprises him. Satan covers himself with his hands to protect from this energy flow, loudly asking what's happening. Yun sees this strong energy spreading through his hand and thinks he can feel the energy filling him up. A system window pops up in front of our boy, saying he just acquired the glorious Heaven's Medallion and unlocked the hidden class Holy Prophet. But before he can even celebrate this absolute W, some long-haired energy man points at him and unleashes this insanely bright red beam straight at his face. More system windows start glitching out, saying his profession doesn't qualify as a saint. There's been a data contradiction. So they have temporarily deactivated the medallion, and if he thinks that it's unfair, he can contact customer service. Yun just stares at the floating medallion and fire, completely lost. Satan lets out this massive sigh of relief, saying he genuinely thought he was about to get deleted from existence by that holy energy surge. He turns to Yun, asking what the hell just happened, and our boy's like, bro, how would I know? We need to figure this mess out. Another window pops up informing him about the system error and saying that they'll fix it soon, which basically means we have no idea what's happening either. Yun smiles to himself, thinking, great, things just got way more complicated. Cut to Mount Fian Mine number 2 near the barony of Mikhail. Some guard stops this dude High-End Tack with a hand gesture, and our boy's immediately confused, wondering why there are even guards posted here. The guard asks if he's entering the mine because there's a fee now he needs a pass. High-End Tack's like, a pass? Since when the hell was this a thing? He's internally panicking because the YouTube tutorial he watched didn't mention anything about paying to enter. The guard explains that freeloaders aren't welcome here anymore. Anyone wanting to dig up Mount Fian's treasures needs to contribute to the mine's development, which is just fancy talk for corporate extortion. Hentak asks how much, and this bastard leans in, saying it's 30 gold for a month's pass, calling it quite affordable. Our boy nearly has a heart attack right there. That's 1 gold per day, which equals 100,000 won. Multiply that by 30 and you get 3 million won a month. He starts crying on the spot, realizing he'll never afford this, saying goodbye to his dreams of mining his way to wealth. The guard, seeing the easiest mark of his life, puts his hand on High-Untak's shoulder all friendly-like, saying he totally gets it. You can tell from those raggedy clothes he's broke as hell. But good news, Baroness Mikhail created a special system just for poor people like him. Mine now, pay later. He points to a customer service building nearby. Inside, there's this green-haired, red-eyed girl at the window, and High-Untak's immediately mesmerized, like she just cast a charm spell. The guard standing next to him smiles to himself, thinking, Another one takes the bait, imagining Hyantak walking straight into a noose, about to become another mine slave paying off debt for the rest of his life. Inside the mine, it's absolutely packed with players who believe Yun's video, all grinding away, yelling about digging faster so they can work off their passes and start making actual profit. One dude finds a tiny magic crystal and celebrates like he won the lottery. The green-haired girl watches them all with this evil smile, thinking it's amazing how much enthusiasm they have. The cage door slams shut behind these poor souls. She genuinely can't believe so many people fell for such an obvious scam, thinking how the saying was true. The thirst for easy money really does kill every brain cell. She's certain this plan is way too diabolical to be the Baroness's idea. Whoever designed this scheme is an absolute sadist. Meanwhile, Yun gets a notification that he completed the ore mining goal, and the Baroness's worries are solved. Time to collect his bag. He tells Satan they can wrap things up for today. Satan asks what he's planning to do next, and Yun's like, isn't it obvious? Satan's confused and getting a seriously bad feeling about this. Yun smiles and starts listing his crimes like he's reading a rap sheet. Broke into angel territory, stole a sacred artifact, destroyed someone's sarcophagus, and damaged holy remains trying to yank the medallion out. He's now officially a criminal, grave robber, and thief, basically society's scum. Satan's sitting there like, is it really that serious though? And Yun explains that if anyone finds out about this, his already difficult life becomes absolutely impossible, so he needs to keep this secret buried. Satan asks how he plans to do that, and Yun summons his energy-filled drill with the most menacing smile, saying he's getting rid of the evidence. Satan realizes in absolute horror that this madman's about to destroy the stairway to heaven itself. Yun nods with the kindest, most innocent smile and proceeds to demolish the entire room like he's in a demolition derby. He exhales, all satisfied, saying the evidence is gone now, he just needs to block the entrance, and he's golden. Satan's absolutely shell-shocked, thinking humans are genuinely terrifying creatures. Later at the Baroness's palace, she slams the table excitedly, welcoming Yun back like he just returned from war. He asks if she has enough miners now, and she's practically vibrating with joy, saying thanks to him, they're set for an entire year. She has absolutely no clue what he told people in that video, but after it went live, adventurers flooded the mines like it was Black Friday. Yun awkwardly asks how many showed up, and her eyes light up like slot machines hitting jackpot. Over 9,500 people. Before this, only 800 workers were there. They take 30% from ore sales, and nobody can sell outside the barony either. She asks how he even thought of this genius plan. Yun looks away, saying he drew inspiration from somewhere. He definitely read about this exact scam in the news about corporate exploitation. He notes she wasn't this cheerful at their first meeting and hopes everything's going okay with her. It's official, folks. This bastard has corrupted this innocent girl and now laughs evilly about squeezing everything from her little mining slaves. Maybe she'll even get promoted to countess soon with all this profit. Yun quickly changes the subject to his reward because that energy was getting scary. She snaps back to normal and drops this massive money bag on the table. 120 gold and 23 silver, which is about 120 million won. Rent's covered for life. But she's not done. She offers to make him second in command of the entire barony, sharing all power equally. The system shows this would massively increase her favor stat. Yun stares at the tempting offer, wondering what the hell he should do. Cut to Arcadia's hidden history. Some yellow-haired guy named Jack tells someone named Jenica he's grateful she helped him find true happiness in this world. He created all of Arcadia especially for her. Alice, the administrator, suddenly appears, and Jack notices system errors popping up everywhere. Alice told him how an error has occurred and she doesn't have the authority to deal with it, and that's why she needs his help. Jack laughs reading the error report because it's about the Bard of Anarchy. Even he, the literal creator of this world, didn't expect this chaos. Seeing this, he smiles, saying how it seems that a real disruptor has appeared in his carefully crafted world, and things are about to get interesting. Jack's getting more hype because this situation is absolutely insane. Our boy Yun didn't just pick up some random loot. He got the Glorious Heavens Medallion, a special artifact that only one person in the entire game should have, the Holy Prophet, aka the main character of the Great War of Angels and Demons storyline. So now Yun's holding two game-breaking items that are making the system have a complete meltdown. Jack's laughing his ass off, saying this is fascinating, and he's so glad he created Arcadia because this chaos is peak entertainment. Alice's system windows pop up asking what she should do technically. She can't just hand out the Holy Prophet class to DEX. Jack says he'll think about it later, but right now something else matters more. This player found a valuable item, so they should reward him by messing with the medallion's properties a bit. Alice asks if he really wants to change it, and Jack nods, saying how this player completely disrupted his world's order, so they need to restore balance using a little admin magic. Meanwhile, Yun's staring at the Baroness's job offer and apologizes, saying he has to refuse. Mikhail's absolutely shocked, asking why are the conditions not good enough? Did she lowball him? Yun explains he's a traveler, and once he explores the whole continent, then he'll consider it. Internally, he's thinking this feels like a massive trap, and working with her long-term will definitely cause problems he doesn't need. Mikhail's face lights up, hearing he'll think about it later, and she leans in way too close, asking if he promises. Yun's getting flustered, telling her she's invading his personal space, and she hands him a letter saying in that case, he should take this. It's her personal letter of recommendation with it. He'll receive VIP protection anywhere in the kingdom. The system confirms he got the reward. Yun asks why he'd even need protection though, and Mikhail sits down, asking if he seriously hasn't heard the kingdom's a total dumpster fire right now. Even a whole box full of recommendation letters won't guarantee safe travel these days. Yun's confused because none of the other players ever mentioned this mess. Maybe this info only comes from NPCs and not the forums. Mikhail explains that the royal family is an absolute disaster. The king's old as dirt, his heir needs to take the throne, but the prince is way too young to rule. The nobles are fighting for power and playing the kid like a puppet on strings. The worst one is Duke Burhan. He's rallied all the top nobles, trying to control the prince, and he's pushing for war with a neighboring country just so he can access the treasury under the excuse of military expenses. If he succeeds, the whole kingdom's completely screwed. Yun's thinking he did not sign up for this level of political drama and really wants to stay a million miles away from this mess. But Mikhail keeps going, saying her letter details how he saved the barony's entire economy. If he shows it to the royal family, they'll roll out the red carpet for him. But first, he needs to find Count Brocken, who'll actually appreciate his talents. She asks him to help the Kingdom of Maroon flourish again. Yoon's internally screaming because he literally just thought about avoiding this whole circus, and she immediately dragged him right into the center ring. The system updates. The Kingdom of Maroon is surrounded by enemies trying to survive among powerful nations, but the winds of change are here. He can't call himself the Bard of Anarchy if he doesn't grab this opportunity with both hands. He needs to ride the wave and become the guide of change, influencing the state and royal family. The plot may change based on his actions. Yun stares at the window, realizing this isn't some optional side quest, it's a forced mission. He didn't even get a choice to accept or refuse. It's the damn game railroading him into the main story. He reluctantly smiles, saying he'll do his best, knowing he's got no other option. Mikhail's absolutely thrilled, saying she knew she could count on him. Later, Yoon leaves the castle while Mikhail waves like crazy, wishing him a successful journey, telling him to hit her up if he needs anything. Yun awkwardly waves back, thinking he's genuinely not sure befriending her was even a good idea anymore. Mikhail's standing there thinking this isn't just her gut feeling. She's 100% certain. Even a complete idiot could tell this adventurer will definitely shake up the entire world. And folks, she wasn't wrong at all because this walking mistake of ours would be flipping Arcadia's world upside down, whether he wanted to or not. His actions changed multiple people's fates. The ripple effect is undeniable, even if it doesn't always make perfect sense. But this world was literally created for players to mess around in. So can we really blame him for playing exactly how the creator intended? More importantly, the absolute chaos he's about to unleash will make everything he's done so far look like child's play. His previous antics will seem charming and wholesome in comparison. Outside the city gate, Satan asks if everything's really going to be okay. Yoon asks what he means. Satan says human politics is a complete nightmare. Sure, it's supposedly for the kingdom's well-being, but does he really want to dive headfirst into that mess? Yoon looks into the distance, saying it's not that he wanted to, but since he already started this whole thing, he needs to see it through. Satan's genuinely shocked by the commitment. Yoon asks with determination, anyway, it's all just for story progression points, so why the hell not, right? System notifications suddenly appear saying the error has been completely resolved and the glorious Heaven's Medallion stats have been totally overhauled. They apologize for the inconvenience. The updated medallion suddenly materializes, emitting this insanely strong bright energy that's basically blinding. Satan hides behind Yun, asking why the thing just caught fire out of nowhere. Yun watches in complete surprise as the light gets thicker and brighter, and then a whole angel appears, radiating this intense holy glow. Satan's absolutely embarrassed and shocked, saying this absolutely cannot be happening right now. But folks, this was happening because just then the system chimed in, saying how the medallion's effect grants him connection with a higher entity. His personal guardian angel has been summoned also now. The item is forever bound to him and can't be removed even if he wanted to. In the next panel, this angel girl appears, radiating these bright energy particles everywhere. The system identifies her as Her Brilliant Holiness, Archangel Michael. She's the same chibi size as Satan, with a name window floating above her head. Our boy just accidentally summoned a literal archangel as his permanent companion. And honestly, I'm now existing with our boy, an angel on one shoulder and a devil on another. It's sure going to be entertaining. So everyone knows angels and demons have been sworn enemies since forever and can't peacefully coexist, which makes this situation incredibly awkward, since both faction leaders are now stuck with the same dude. Later that night in the forest, Satan was screaming, asking why she appeared here and saying that she needs to disappear immediately, and our boy needs to cancel this summon. Michael yells back that he should disappear. All he does is whine and she's tired of it. She was curious what he was doing since he got so quiet, and now she sees he's destroying sacred land. Has he gone completely insane? Satan gets pissed, saying she'd do the same thing in his position. Michael responds, asking if he still hasn't learned his lesson. Does he want to fight again? Satan immediately screams he's ready, so she can attack. Yum looks at them with dead eyes, telling them to stop already. He steps between them, asking what they're even doing. Satan yells at our boy to move aside so he can kill this winged pig. Michael fires back, saying that if someone is a pig here, it's definitely him, and Satan loses it, saying if he had his true body right now. Michael interrupts with an annoyed expression, pointing out he's not in his true body either, and this is coming from the one who ran away last time. Satan screams it's because she brought a sacred weapon. She cheated. Michael asks, since when is she not allowed to use sacred weapons? Where's that rule written? Yoon's watching this, thinking they're arguing like children, and he can't believe these are supposed to be legendary mythical creatures. Michael suddenly yells for his attention. She flies up, asking if he's the man who made a contract with Satan. Yoon confirms, though the contract wasn't exactly by choice. Satan angrily points out he's been enjoying the services without complaining. Michael says excitedly that the strength he possesses is special and is destructive in the wrong hands, especially in the clutches of sneaky flying rats. Satan explodes, asking who this damn chicken called a rat. Michael ignores him, saying nothing can be done about the contract now, so he must restrain himself and not give in to temptation. She smiles kindly, saying she'll become his guardian angel and help him not stray from the true path. Satan gets a sly smile and laughs, calling her naive. Does she really think he'll allow this? He, the demon lord, will ensure this seemingly innocent guy becomes worse than any demon. He's verified this personally. Yoon's embarrassed, thinking he's right. The Bard of Anarchy class brings destruction and chaos to Arcadia, and honestly, his actions so far have been pretty evil. Michael says she sees it differently. People are God's greatest creation with kindness in their hearts. The angel's mission is to identify and nurture that. She flies closer, saying from now on she'll guide him toward goodness, and then casually told him that he can call her Ellie. Satan looks displeased, saying he'll tolerate her presence for our boy's peace of mind, but all his decency belongs to him. He'll get rid of her if she tries taking it. Ellie smirks, saying he's funny listening to him. You'd think he's the rightful owner. Demons have no shame or conscience, so he shouldn't even try taking its power. Satan flies up, yelling that he signed the contract first, so she should wait her turn. Ellie asks what he'll even do with this decency. Probably just bring destruction to the heavenly dimension again. Does he think she doesn't know about his vile plans? You sneaky flying rat? Satan screams at this chicken with a halo not to call him that. Yun watches, thinking he now has one more chatty companion. He's about to call her Michael, but remembers and says Ellie instead. She turns, asking what's up. Yun's thinking whether demon or angel doesn't matter in this world. Money rules everything. It's all a capitalist market economy. He smiles, asking about this decency. He didn't just give it to Satan for free. So what will she give him in exchange for his strength? That's right, the golden rule. Nothing is free. Ellie's surprised, then laughs, understanding he wants to set a price. In the celestial dimension, they're familiar with this concept. She has things in her arsenal useful to humans. Does he need a weapon? Yun refuses, saying he doesn't need items. Maybe skills instead? Ellie's confused, asking what skills he's talking about. Yun realizes she doesn't know gaming terminology and explains his fighting skills suck, so he needs abilities to fight stronger opponents. Ellie asks if he means power. Yun thinks the Bard of Anarchy can gain plausibility points, which is great, but the class has downsides, no leveling system. He only has non-combat skills like ore mining and diving. Satan can give good items compensating for weak offensive skills, but weapons have limits. He needs at least a couple actual skills. Ellie has an idea, saying she remembered something perfect. The system notifies that the Guardian Angel contract is concluded. He acquired the Divine Intervention skill, letting him use plausibility to temporarily borrow higher power. Ellie confirms the contract is official, and Heaven will provide whatever strength he needs. Young wonders if more power means more plausibility required, then smiles, saying that's great. He wants to test it immediately. He activates Divine Intervention, and insanely strong energy starts emanating from him. Satan screams in surprise, covering his face as massive energy streams shoot upward, emitting bright light. Several orcs nearby notice these huge glowing energy streams, and our boy gets this system panel with all the options of the heroes he can summon, including the legendary hero Farhan the Knight of Honor. Man, this is seriously funny. Our boy just unlocked god powers on a pay-per-use plan. So these orcs roll up on our boy Yoon and tell him to hand over everything, or they'll give him a quick death. Yun just smiles at these ugly bastards and says they showed up at the perfect time. He's got a new power, and he is dying to test it out. The system pops up saying he's activating Divine Descent, Knight of Honor Farhan. Meanwhile, we cut to this depressing-ass mine where a bunch of players are grinding 24/7s, thinking they'll strike it rich. These poor souls are slowly realizing they got played hard. There's this one dude, Hyung Tak, literally crying while leaning on his pickaxe, thinking about how all his friends are out there having fun while he's stuck in this underground prison. He can't even tell them he's working off debt in a mine because that's embarrassing as hell. Man's having a full breakdown, wondering why he's such an idiot. They literally scammed him in a video game. He doesn't even care about the money anymore. He just wants to see sunlight again. Then he hears some noise. 2 guards are dragging this new guy into the mine. The dude's complaining, saying he bought the game capsule to play, not to work in some digital coal mine. The guards are like, oh look, another escapee who ate shit trying to run. Hyungtak's confused and asks what they mean. This green-haired guy drops the brutal truth. If you try to bounce without paying off your pass, you become a wanted criminal. You can't enter any city or village in the entire empire. The second guard's like, there's no point running anyway, you'll just have to come crawling back and work it off, so shut up and mine. They ask Hyungtak if he was thinking about escaping. Our boy nervously says, no, of course not, then goes right back to mining while crying and cursing everyone involved in this scam operation. The system tells him his ore mining skill hit rank 5. He can now mine longer without getting tired, and he got the title Persistent Miner. Then some entity called the Ever-Burning Flame takes interest in him because he spends so much time with iron. Hyungtak's looking at these notifications with tears in his eyes, wondering what the hell the Ever-Burning Flame even is when someone yells at him to stop slacking and move his pickaxe faster. The man apologizes and speeds up, still crying. Back to Yun, who just popped the Knight of Honor Farhan's skill. The game throws this whole legendary backstory at us. Farhan is this holy warrior who always brings victory. His sword scares the shit out of demons. His shield protects the innocent. Blah blah blah. Basically, he's stupidly overpowered. The demons call him Farhan, the demon slayer, because he's absolutely demolished their entire population. We get this flashback of Farhan facing off against this massive demon. The demon's holding his wounded arm, shocked that Farhan broke through his strongest shield. Farhan powers up his sword and tells him he's next. The demon starts growling, and then bam, Farhan one-shots him with 0 effort. The system tells Yoon that sacred essence just entered his body. He can temporarily use divine powers, and he's got access to all of Farhan's skills. Suddenly, Yun's holding Farhan's sword and shield, and Satan is absolutely losing his mind. Yun smiles, realizing what this skill actually does, and it's even better than he thought. Satan flies up to him, freaking out, asking why this particular psycho possessed him. Yoon's confused, asking if Satan knows who Farhan is. Satan, looking disgusted, says every demon in hell knows this maniac's name. He's terrorized literally everyone in the underworld, even the harmless demons. Yun thinks to himself that this means Farhan's a total legend in the human world, but basically a crazy serial killer in the demon dimension. He turns to the orcs who've been standing there frozen and apologizes for keeping them waiting. Now they can start fighting. The orcs are just standing there silently, trying to process what just happened. The middle orc starts growling, asking what the hell happened. This little freak suddenly became different and insanely strong. Yun's just grinning, thinking even these monsters can tell he leveled up. He notes that normal mobs would have attacked immediately, but these mini-bosses actually have some brain cells. And here's the thing. After leaving the barony, Yun took a special route through a forest that nobody uses because there's a level 25 mini-boss orc robber that camps there. It's the shortest path, but everyone's too scared to take it because of the boss monster back to the fight. The orc swings his massive sword and roars. Yun pops Unshakable Will, creating this huge energy shield that completely blocks the attack. He peeks out from behind the shield with a smile, saying, "This is how it should be used," then tells the orc it's his turn now and he really hopes this guy doesn't die too quickly. The system tells him Sacred Shield entered combat mode. Yoon uses Fair Punishment and Burning Dawn, raising his hand to create this absolutely massive energy sword with Farhan's silhouette visible inside it. The orc boss is terrified, saying this human's too scary and he shouldn't get close. Yun, with the most evil smile, tells these bastards to get in line and unleashes a devastating attack. The system pops up saying the Divine Intervention skill ended. It calculates he spent 352 plausibility points for the time in holy form. The energy disappears, and Yoon's standing there looking at the notification, bummed they all died in one hit. Meanwhile, Ellie's watching in complete shock, thinking it's impossible for a regular human to handle that much power. Then it hits her. She finally gets why the creator sent her here. This man can change the entire world. She's laughing quietly, realizing what he's truly capable of. Yun's just standing there thinking he really wanted a good fight like the old days, but these scrubs couldn't even tank one attack. The scene shifts, and we see Satan and Ellie are sleeping peacefully while Yoon's sitting under a tree, staring at the system window, checking out the details of that divine intervention skill he just used. He's thinking it's good he got to test it in a real fight because now he understands the pros and cons. The biggest pro? It completely closes the level gap between him and whatever he's fighting. Before this, he had to rely on expensive items from the shop, but those cost a fortune, and he couldn't afford every weapon type. Plus the ones he had were limited use, so he was basically gambling in tough fights. This skill solves that problem perfectly. But there's the massive downside. Killing 3 orcs took him maybe 3 minutes, 10 minutes max if he was messing around, and it cost him a stupid amount of plausibility points. Yun's sitting there with this worried look, thinking if he fought someone actually strong, he'd go bankrupt on points. And that's only half the problem. He's got to master role-playing as every available hero, which honestly sounds kind of fun when he thinks about it. Ellie suddenly laughs and calls him out, asking if he just said one of the downsides is fun. Yun turns around, asking if she's already awake. She smiles, saying all angels wake up early. Unlike some people, she glances at Satan, who's still passed out on the ground looking peaceful as hell. She tells Yun she noticed he's worried about the skill consumption, but he needs to understand that Farhan is legitimately one of the most powerful warriors ever. Calling someone like that to Earth is worth the cost. But what's really interesting is what plausibility can actually do. It makes the impossible possible, which is insane when you think about it. Yun's looking at her with this slightly annoyed expression, thinking she's great at talking but not really helping. He sighs and says whatever. He'll just use the skill when necessary and control how long he stays in that form. Ellie says that's a wise decision. Yun asks if familiars even need sleep. Cut to the kingdom of Maroon, which is where the Korean server of Arcadia is based. The kingdom's internal politics are a mess right now, but to everyone else, Maroon looks powerful and prosperous. They're located right in the heart of the second continent, so their geographical position is perfect for making bank off intermediary trade. Obviously, there are several massive trade guilds operating here. Outside the Great GM Dealers Association building, some rich-looking merchant is losing his mind, yelling about how he brought all these goods but the guild leader is nowhere to be found. He understands this is an adventurers association, but this is ridiculous even for them. This guy in a suit with an eye patch walks up and apologizes for wasting his time. The merchant asks who the hell he is. The man introduces himself as John Smith, the main store manager for GM. He bows respectfully, saying unfortunately he's not the guild leader, but he hopes the humble branch manager can help instead. John looks at the merchant seriously and explains that their leader is currently in a very important meeting. Inside the building, we see why the most powerful person in the kingdom of Maroon, Duke Burhan, is sitting across from the guild leader. Burhan extends his hand, saying the guild leader probably already knows that war between Maroon and Parkle is inevitable. The conflict's been building forever, and it's time to settle old grudges and make Maroon even stronger and richer. The leader of the Great GM Dealers Association, Choi, smiles and asks how he can help their guild in this situation. But internally he's thinking this Duke's tongue is way too sharp for an NPC. Burhan could command entire armies if he wanted, he's dangerous as hell, and there are tons of rumors about him. Everyone knows he's got his eyes on the throne. But for GM, he's the perfect ally because this man can make them all filthy rich. Choi is thinking he never expected to meet Burhan this soon, but it's good his team prepared a strategy in advance. He needs to give props to his crew. We get a flashback. Choi Jae-gyu is actually the youngest son of the GM group chairman. Some time ago, his father was tearing into him, listing all his failed positions. Director, head office manager, team leader. He makes a mess and runs away every time. Does he even know what other employees think of him? If he fails again, he's done at GM forever. Back to the present, where this meeting could change everything. Burn explains that GM was founded by adventurers and is mostly made up of them. He sought them out because he heard how fast the guild was growing and how tight the bonds between members were. Now he sees the rumors are true. He wants GM to buy up all the grain they can get their hands on, and he'll pay well for it. Jeju smiles, saying that works for him, but before he can finish, Burhan cuts him off with a smile. In return for the grain, GM will get control over the kingdom's logistics routes. They just need to keep everything quiet to avoid attention. That's why he wanted this private meeting. Jeju nervously but happily agrees. Burhan immediately leaves the office. Jeju's sitting in his chair grinning, thinking this is his big chance. He yells at manager Smith, asking if he heard that they just landed the massive deal they've been waiting for. John agrees, almost calling him young master, but catches himself and says guild leader instead. Jeju's hyped, saying he needs to contact his father immediately to ask for more investment money to guarantee success. John told him that he can't allow that. Jeju's shocked, asking why the hell not. John asks if he really doesn't understand the company already invested $8 million in the guild. Getting more will be tough. Jeju's worried, saying that's not enough money, and besides, all costs will be covered anyway. But he accepts it, thinking it's a shame, but honestly what he's got is probably enough. His internal monologue reveals the full plan. He'll help Duke Burhan by supplying the kingdom of Maroon, and when Burhan conquers Parkle and takes the throne from the weak old king, the entire Korean Arcadia server will fall into GM's hands. He laughs with this evil smile, thinking his father will finally see what he's capable of. With Arcadia, he'll prove himself, and nobody can stop him. Meanwhile, the third most important person in Maroon, Count Brocken, is sitting in his fancy chair asking our boy if that really stubborn Baroness has sent our boy to him. Then Count Brocken opens up the letter Yoon gave him and asks if this is a recommendation from the Baroness. Yoon's like, yeah, honestly, I have no clue what's in there, but the Baroness told me it talks about my achievements and should get me on your good side. Then Bracken does the most disrespectful thing possible. He straight up rips the letter without even reading a single word. Yun's standing there like, bro, what the actual f***? Why'd you just destroy it? Bracken's staring at him all suspicious now, asking why the Baroness really sent him here. Yun smiles because he realizes what's going on. He decides honesty is the best policy and says straight up, I don't know either. She just told me to keep an eye on you. How's a regular adventurer supposed to understand what goes on in the minds of these powerful people? They're locked in this intense stare-down while the Count's processing everything. Then, out of nowhere, Bracken's face breaks into this huge grin, and he starts laughing his ass off, saying he likes this guy. Still smiling, he says he gets it. Now Mikhail sent Yun because she thinks he can help prevent the war that's about to pop off between the two kingdoms. Yun smiles back and asks if Bracken really thinks he's got that much political pull. Bracken points out that Yun didn't even flinch when he mentioned war, which means Mikhail already filled him in on everything. She obviously trusts him, so what's his plan? Yun says he heard the crown prince can't take the throne, and most nobles are scheming with Duke Burin, right? Bracken nods. Yun thinks for a sec, then says there are two ways to handle this: the easy way and the hard way. Bracken asks about the easy way. Yun raises his finger like he's about to drop some wisdom and asks if Duke Burhan is the main guy behind all this, because usually when you take out the leader, these whole conspiracies collapse pretty fast. Bracken's expression goes dead serious as he asks if Yun's actually suggesting they kill Duke Burhan. Yun just smiles and goes, why not? This makes Bracken lose it, laughing like crazy, saying Yun's an interesting dude and Mikhail really knows how to pick her people. Yun's sitting there embarrassed, thinking this guy's voice is as overwhelming as his massive body. Bracken calms down and says yeah, he's thought about it too, but nobles aren't exactly easy to kill. Burhan is protected by the kingdom's strongest knights and mages 24/7, literally anywhere he goes. His guards are always ready to throw down. He'd love to meet the crazy bastard who thinks they can pull off a suicide mission like that. Yun points to himself with a smile and says he can do it. Bracken's shocked, asking if Yun just said he'd handle it alone. He smiles and says no offense, but a weak-looking guy like him doesn't look like he could even scratch the Duke. He notices Yun's level 1 and says there's absolutely no way he can kill Burhan. Yun smiles and asks what's wrong. Does Bracken think he can't handle it? The Count's surprised by how determined Yun sounds and looks. He laughs, saying, that's youth for you, confidence for days. He gets up from his desk, pushes his chair back, and tells Yun to follow him. They head to the backyard together. Bracken says since Yun's so damn confident, he should prove what he's got in a sparring match. He puts his hand on Yun's shoulder, saying Mikhail might be impatient, but she picks her allies carefully, and he trusts her judgment. Then he releases this insane aura with this evil-ass smile, telling Yun he better not disappoint him. A system window pops up identifying him as Master of the Sword, Shield of the Kingdom, third strongest man in the kingdom, Count Bracken. Yun just smiles and activates his Divine Descent skill. This time he has summoned the Wandering Knight Kophelis. Immediately, this massive energy starts pouring out of him, shooting up super high. Bracken's shocked as hell, wondering what is happening because Yun's entire aura just completely changed. A second ago, he looked like some weakling who'd never held a sword in his life, but now he's radiating the confidence of someone who spent their whole existence in battle. The system notifies that Wandering Knight Kophelis has possessed the player's body, and he can temporarily use its power. Yun grins wide and says, 5 minutes. Bracken's confused, asking what he means. Yun explains he'll wrap this up in 5 minutes to avoid burning through too many plausibility points. Then he activates Sliding Gate and charges at ridiculous speed. The system pops up saying he's using will in the decisive battle and wind sword skills, and he's protected by the spirit of the earth. Yun reaches Bracken instantly, and their swords clash hard. Bracken blocks the attack, thinking this guy hits like a goddamn truck. Yun looks at him with a smile, saying he expected that first hit to end it, but it turns out the sword master isn't so simple after all. He quickly jumps back a few meters. Bracken smiles slightly and says Yun's not your average adventurer. Yun grins back, asking if he's only just figuring that out now. Bracken says when Yun claimed he could take out the Duke solo, he thought the kid was just talking shit, but now he sees Yun was dead serious. Yun's happy, asking if that means they're done with the test. Brock smiles and tells him to hold up, he needs to show what he's got too. He activates Formless Blade, or a sword, and his sword starts glowing with this intense red aura. He looks and then turns to our boy, saying he's an old, unfinished warrior and doesn't hide it, but he's also got something worth bragging about. He raises his energy-filled sword, saying, here's the proof. Yun starts getting worried, asking if they really need to take it this far. Bracken doesn't give a single fuck. He unleashes this devastating attack with his energy, yelling that he wants to see how Yun handles this attack. This dude's attack is about to connect, but our boy Yun whips out the Formless Sword skill and blocks it like it's nothing. Bracken stared at Yun holding 2 swords made of pure energy, thinking, wait, is that the shapeless sword technique? He recognizes it immediately. This is a skill only sword masters can pull off, But before he can say anything, the system pops up with a notification that Yun just used a level 150 plus skill and spent additional plausibility points. Yun's face drops, and he's like, "Are you serious? Even more points?" So now he's thinking. He knows how much plausibility this garbage costs, and Brock and the Count just stands there watching him talk to himself, wondering if this dude's actually insane. Yun charges forward again, yelling that this time it's actually ending. He unleashes this absolutely sick combo with his energy swords, and Brocken's barely holding on. Blocking blow after blow, our boy's going ham, throwing hundreds of fast, brutal strikes, and the Count's struggling hard, his face tense as hell, trying to keep up. Then Yun smirks and says, "Got you," delivering a lightning-fast, unexpected strike that flies past Brocken's head. The Count's sword goes flying out of his hands. Brocken hits the dirt, and the system announces the divine intervention skill just expired. The Count checks his body and then celebrates when he realizes he actually survived. Meanwhile, the system's calculating the damage, 2,812 plausibility points spent. Yun achieved an outstanding feat. He surpassed a sword master and earned the title Amazing Fighter with a +10 strength boost. But Yun? Man's pissed, screaming at the system, asking if it really just spent 3,000 points. Ellie pops out of his hood, saying he wasn't this stressed before, but now he's completely different. This is the first time she's seen him actually enjoy fighting. She looks at the battlefield covered in sword cuts and asks if he's practiced sword fighting before. Yun casually drops that yeah, he studied a bit, but not in this world. Ellie's shocked, and he explains he won first place in a VR game tournament, so technically he's not lying. Brocken slowly gets up, holding his shoulder, thinking this was incredible. He, a sword master of the Maroon Kingdom, couldn't predict this guy's movements. He remembers that final attack and realizes Yun's a dark horse with insane power. He kneels and asks what element his sword is. Yun thinks about it and says probably wind. Brocken's mind is blown. The power of wind is the swiftest, sharpest, and freest force. He looks down frustrated, wishing he could reach that level, then grabs his sword and starts practicing. Later, Satan's asking why this old dude's still swinging his sword when it's already nighttime, and Yun's like, no clue. Cut to the Count's office. Brocken is apologizing for his rudeness, bowing and begging our boy to forgive his old ass. Yun's embarrassed, saying it's fine, mistakes happen. Then Brocken gets serious, asking about what they discussed. Is he really serious about murdering the Duke? Yun says it's the easiest solution since the Duke's on the evil side. Brocken admits he can probably pull it off, but he's worried the Duke's death will cause chaos at court. Yun asks if he's heard of the Gordian knot. Brocken's confused, and Yun explains it's a knot that's impossible to untangle, but there's actually one way. He asks if Brocken knows what it is. The Count has no idea, so Yun smiles and says, you just cut it apart. You could spend all day trying to untangle it, but it's pointless, so just cut through it. As for the consequences, he's sure everything will work out somehow. Brocken's thinking this guy's incredibly careless, but he alone found a solution to the kingdom's long-standing problem, and there's simply no better option. He agrees if Yun thinks it'll work. Then he realizes this adventurer isn't just hiding the aura blade, he's the most dangerous man in the kingdom. The system pops up, saying Yun successfully took the first step toward playing a decisive role in the Maroon Kingdom's fate. Mission updated with a new side quest. The kingdom's surrounded by enemies and must survive among powerful nations, but winds of change are blowing. He can't call himself a bard of anarchy if he doesn't grab this opportunity. He must ride the wave and become the guide of these winds, influencing the state and royal family. Side quest unlocked. Kill Duke Burin. Yun's looking at this, thinking, a side quest. Unexpected. Even the system can't wait for this Duke to die. Satan laughs, asking if he's really going to kill this man. Ellie asks if he's seriously doing this, and then obviously they start fighting. Satan loudly asks if she's got complaints, hoping she won't say naive nonsense like killing is bad. Ellie says secret murder is vile, only dishonorable creatures do that. He needs to challenge the Duke to a fair duel instead. Yun asks if she has no problem with murder itself and just wants him to announce it first. Ellie nods, saying that if Yun is dead set on murdering him, he should at least give him 3 days to prepare or, at minimum, send a notice of intent so he can prepare for death. Satan's embarrassed, saying this is complete nonsense. He knew she wasn't right in the head. Ellie snaps back that she doesn't care about a villain demon's opinion. Satan gets angry, and Yun tells them both to chill. He's not planning to kill anyone yet. They both immediately turn, asking what he means. Yun explains when you're in the middle of conflict, you can't listen to just one side. Why would the Duke suddenly start a war for no reason? There must be some motive. From an adventurer's perspective, with no ties to Maroon, internal power struggles and war are great scenarios, but only one thing matters, his benefit. He'll help whichever side gives him more. Then everyone's happy. Satan's surprised, but Ellie immediately flips, saying this is wrong, promises must be kept, and tells him to go kill the Duke now. Satan's even more shocked hearing this from an angel. The triumph of egocentrism, throwing promises away for personal benefit. This is what it means to be a wandering adventurer, Dex. The scene shifts, and we are now at the GM Group headquarters, where some news anchor is going on about how Agent Electronics stock just smashed through 5 million won. Their chairman, Lee Jun, made some big public statement after announcing the launch of Arcadia, and investors are losing their minds over it. Apparently, this is a massive leap for virtual reality, especially thanks to their new device called the Dreamer. Choi Soon-young, chairman of GM Group, is watching this and he's like, they're talking about this Dreamer thing again. He can't believe his eyes. How the hell did they even create something like that? He's thinking back to how just 5 years ago, Agent Electronics and GM Group were neck and neck, constantly battling for the top spot. But then smartphones and innovative tech gradually started fading out, and now everything's completely different. Now what worries him most is that this one device shook up the entire world market. Soon-young realizes they need to start inventing something new instead of sticking with the same boring engineering and construction that brings zero profit or their company's done for. Right then, someone calls, saying Choi Jeju is here to see him, and then his son comes bursting into the office yelling how. Soon-young won't believe the good news he's got, but he needs 8 billion won. Soon-young's like, how much? Wait, what happened to the 8 billion I just gave you? The kid only recently got that money, and he's already back for more. Jeju admits, yeah, but this time it's way more serious. He promises this is the last time. Just trust him. Soon-young's absolutely fuming, asking why he needs 8 billion. That's a ton of money. Plus, all this kid does is play their competitors' games and wander around doing nothing. He thought his son finally came to his senses, but now he's gone completely insane. If he wants financing, he better show documents first, but before he can finish, Jeju slams this massive stack of papers on his desk. Soon-young asks what this is about, and Jeju smiles, telling Dad to check it out first, then say what he thinks. Soon-young starts reading and sees one document titled Plan to Seize the Kingdom of Maroon. After going through everything, he asks if this is all true. Jeju says, of course it is. He even contacted the Duke of Burin, one of the most significant people in the kingdom. Everything's going as planned. Translation: if this works, they can create their own version of Arcadia and compete with Agent Group. Soon-young thinks about it seriously, then surprises Jeju by saying he'll give him 50 billion. He'll give him 50 billion, and not a one more. And he better not even think about asking for more money. This is his last chance. Jeju thanks him happily, promises he'll succeed, and bounces out of the office. Soon-young sits there thinking about what his son told him. There's even a love scandal involved. It's literally a different world. He smiles, thinking games seem like child's play, but apparently everything's way deeper than that. He looks out the window, wondering when everything changed so drastically. Cut to the Duke of Burin's residence. Two well-equipped guards stand at the office entrance. Inside, Burhan's talking to Lord Leonio, a secret envoy from the Harmal Empire. He notes the guy came all the way from the farthest northern reaches. He asks what brings him here. Leonio looks worried, saying they received intel that Burhan is preparing for war. In response, they'd like to make an offer on behalf of the Harmal Empire. They're ready to help him with all their might on one condition. After winning the war, he gives them the Hyrule Valley lands. If he agrees, they're even ready to help him become King of Maroon. Burhan is shocked and studies this messenger carefully. He's thinking of Hyrule Valley, mostly rocky mountains where the border between Maroon and Harmal is located. The Empire needs these lands desperately to strengthen their defensive position. There's hardly any catch here. They shake hands, and Burhan says with a small smile he's extremely happy to do business with them. Leonio says he believes they won't let each other down and looks forward to collaboration. Then he leaves with a serious expression. Burhan laughs with an evil smile, saying everything's going as planned. He's thinking about that phrase, below the one but above darkness, meaning under the power of one but ruling thousands of others. These words fit no one better than him. There's only one person more important than him in this world, and he gets this sly smile thinking when it comes to some 8-year-old child, it becomes hilarious. This country needs a wise ruler, not just an ornament. He clenches his fist, thinking that person will be him. Then Jeju pops up, saying he seems to be in a good mood. Burhan notices him. The leader of the Great GM Dealers Association. What happened? Jeju says when a big deal's brewing, it's best to make an interim report, right? In their plans, the first step was finding the enemy state of Parkle, then the lands where they previously bought food. Then they purchased everything those lands produced for the year, plus grain products sold on the market without significant price fluctuations. Burhan smiles, saying, blocking enemy supply routes in advance while stocking resources without harming the domestic economy, but this is his first time seeing someone pre-purchase required product quantities. How did he come up with this? Jeju explains they call it gift exchange, a form of preliminary contracting where you buy specific products at agreed prices, then sell the goods at an appointed time. Burhan laughs, saying he's quite good. Seems adventurers can be useful sometimes. Jeju says he flatters him, then with a smile mentions the GM Dealers Association took a huge risk agreeing to this arrangement. Could the Duke tell him more about those huge profit rights they agreed on earlier? Burhan smiles slyly, gets up, and tells this adventurer to listen. Doesn't he think they're rushing things? He apologizes, But right now, he's too busy with important matters. Maybe they should discuss this after the war, not now? Jigu's embarrassed trying to say something, but Burn shoots him this angry look, asking if he really doubts him. Jeju is caught off guard, clenches his teeth from tension, and thinks this is bad. It looks like he's got problems. He quickly says, "Of course not." Burn says then it's time for him to go because he's got things to do. Jeju agrees nervously, saying he understands. Burn stands there with a smug smile as Jeju leaves and closes the door. Once he's some distance away, Jeju slams the wall hard out of pure anger, thinking this damn NPC freak is sitting there doing nonsense. But he has no choice. He invested too much money. All he can do now is suck up to him and wait for the right moment. All that grain from the markets cost him about 500,000 gold. He spent all 50 billion won his dad invested, but it wasn't enough to control all the grain in Arcadia. He can only hope the deal succeeds. With this quantity, he could have easily thwarted Parkel Kingdom's plans. But the contract states 10 million gold for assistance. That's 1 trillion won. If something goes wrong, it could cause massive damage not just to the Traders Association but to GM Group as a whole. The entire company could face the end. His father would never allow that, so he had to act secretly. Jeju clenches his fist tight, thinking everything's fine, war will happen. He just needs to calm down. When it does, grain prices will skyrocket. This isn't gambling. It's a real investment in the future. Everything must work out because this is his last chance. Right then, Yun walks past him in his usual clothes. Jeju doesn't immediately notice, then turns around to look at him from behind, wondering exactly how that is. After thinking about it for a bit, Jeju starts sprinting after our boy, screaming for him to wait up. He books it around the corner where Yoon disappeared and yells for him to stop, but when he actually looks down the hallway, bro's already vanished into thin air. Jegu's standing there thinking he'd recognize that trash equipment anywhere, even with a cloak covering it up. Like, that's literally the starter gear noobs get when they first spawn in the game. So why the fuck would some level 1 nobody be visiting the Duke of Burhan? This idiot's getting heated now, wondering what this random's deal is and what kind of connection he's got with the Duke. Who even is this bastard? And is he seriously about to screw up everything Jeju's been planning? He makes this hand signal, and immediately 2 sketchy cloaked figures pop up out of nowhere, faces completely hidden. He tells them some stranger just went to see the Duke follow his ass. If he's a player, drag him back here ASAP. Both masked goons nod and Jegu's got this pissed off look on his face, saying whoever this mystery man is, he's not about to let him ruin everything. Meanwhile, back in the office, Burhan's all like, "Ah, my precious guest has arrived." He's holding some fancy scroll and mentions that Count Brocken himself recommended this guy, and the Count doesn't just recommend any random person. He looks at Yun with this smile, asking what brings him all the way here. Being the top duke in the whole kingdom, he doesn't think Yun would waste his time or straight up disrespect him without a damn good reason. And Yun, with the most cheerful smile you've ever seen, just casually drops the bomb. Count Brocken's planning to kill you. Burhan squeezes that scroll so hard from pure rage, asking what the hell the reason would be. Yun stays calm as hell and explains the Count thinks that to stop a war from breaking out, they have to eliminate Burhan first. He even put in the work, came up with a whole detailed plan and everything. Burhan's got this evil-ass smile now, asking if Yun really expects him to believe this wild accusation without any proof. Yun just smiles back, saying, Burhan should already have plenty of evidence sitting around. Burhan stares at him silently for a second, then lowers his head, closes his eyes, starts laughing, and admits Yun's absolutely right. Satan crawls out of Yun's hood, saying he was the one who offered to kill the Duke Brocken, was just trying to figure out the best way to do it when Yun randomly showed up out of nowhere. Ellie chimes in, asking if this even matters since the Duke's going to die eventually anyway. Satan tells her to shut the hell up because he was wondering if Yun started all of this drama on purpose. Yun's got this slight smirk and gestures for Satan to keep quiet. Burhan says he never would have expected Count Brocken, the guy who's always been all about justice and honor, to secretly plan to assassinate him. It's actually kind of impressive when you think about it. Yun smiles, saying people always start pulling shady moves like this once they reach the top. Burhan looks at him, asking if this adventurer just kindly shared this intel out of the goodness of his heart. What does he actually want? Yun smiles with this slightly flushed face, asking, isn't it obvious? It seems to him like a mature, experienced leader should become king, not some brat who can't even speak properly yet. Burhan was shook hearing this, and then he just loses it and starts laughing. He looks at Yun, still grinning ear to ear, and asks what his name is at least. Our boy introduced himself as Dex. They shake hands, and Burhan says he's looking forward to their future partnership being super profitable. Yun smiles, saying he'll do his best not to disappoint, then immediately dips out of the castle and starts walking down the street. Ellie's literally praying with tears streaming down her face, saying she can't believe it. This man just lied straight to the Duke's face and walked out like nothing happened. She's asking God to please forgive this lying bastard. Satan's got this confused look, asking why Yun even started all this bullshit just to bounce mid-conversation like a complete coward. Yun asks them if they still don't get it. He's simply checking out all the possible ways things could play out. They're both surprised hearing this. No matter what anyone wants or tries to do, war is happening no matter what. It's just a question of whether Maroon or Parkel announces it first. At the end of the day, it doesn't even matter who kicks things off. Yoon raises his finger, saying only one thing's crystal clear. When the war is going full throttle and becomes as chaotic and unpredictable as humanly possible, that's when it's his time to shine. His chances of profiting skyrocket, exactly like what happened during that recent slime disaster. Satan crosses his arms, asking, "So you're saying it's more profitable if war breaks out, then what's the damn problem with just working with the Duke?" Sure, the guy looked a bit sketchy, but he doesn't even finish his sentence because Yun smiles, saying that's exactly what can't happen. Once Duke Burin takes the throne, there won't be anyone left to fight against. That's why he needs to side with Count Brocken instead. Right now, Satan's completely confused, asking him what the hell he's even talking about right now. Then something clicks in his brain, he gets all confused and says, wait, he finally gets our boy's master plan. A simple war with other countries isn't enough for this absolute psychopath. A war inside the kingdom itself, that's what this maniac actually needs. Yun's got this evil smile saying, just imagine all the chaos and how much profit he can squeeze out of it. Insane, right? This is literally a double war with double the benefits. Satan's mind is blown, saying Yun's gone completely off the deep end. He immediately summons his book and starts taking notes. If you're going to betray someone, don't stand on anyone's side. Man, imagine being so evil that the devil himself takes notes from you. Meanwhile, our boy was chill. He was stretching and thinking about all the money he's going to make. Just then, the idiots from before roll up, telling our boy that he needs to go with them. So we cut to GM headquarters, and this idiot Jegyu's sitting there trying to act all professional, asking Yun if he wants to sit down. Yun smiles, playing along, saying what an honor it is to be personally invited by such a massive company. Jeju smiles back, complimenting his talent, but both of them are thinking the exact same thing. This guy's hiding something. He's 100% up to no good. Yun cuts to the chase, asking why he's really here. Jeju says they need to check something and apologizes if this seems rude, but Yun interrupts, asking what exactly needs checking. Jeju's expression shifts, and he gets dead serious, asking what Duke Burhen was talking to him about. Yun just smiles and casually asks why the hell he should tell him that. Jeju slams his fist on the table, absolutely fuming, saying Yun's thinking way too long, and starts releasing this insane, threatening aura that'd make most people shit themselves. Satan quietly warns our boy that if he looks at this dude any longer, he'll grind Yun into powder. Even Ellie's like, bro, stop provoking him. Yun glances at them, asking if they think he's overthinking, then assesses the situation. The two masked guys who brought him, plus 5 more at the entrance, 7 total. But first, he needs to handle this psycho. Game names weren't mentioned, but Jigyu already slipped up. He's definitely not letting Yun walk out of here. Yun thinks that if worst comes to worst, he can use the divine descent. Seeing this, that idiot has escalated the situation. John chimes in, telling our boy that they just wanted to know if Yun received any instructions from the Duke. Yun looks at him, thinking, finally, someone with a functioning brain. He asks if that's really it, because his master seemed ready to commit murder. Jegyu gets even more pissed and slams the table again, pointing at Yun, saying he better listen whatever connects him to Duke Burin. If he ever tries to stop their plans or goes near the Duke again. Yun interrupts with this cocky smile, asking, what'll happen then? Jegyu's about to blow a gasket, threatening that not only will gaming become impossible, but his entire life will turn into a living hell. Suddenly, John grabs this idiot by the collar and orders him to calm the down because he's crossing every line. Jeju looks embarrassed and pissed. John bows again, apologizing for the misunderstanding. Their master sacrificed too much to start working with Duke Burhen, so he's worried it'll all fall apart. John explains they're not some random organization and then asks our boy if he has heard of GM Group. Yun's face drops, asking hesitantly if he means that GM Group. John confirms and then slams this massive bag of gold on the table. Yun stares at it while John explains their company has invested heavily in Arcadia, specifically in Duke Burhen. He can't share all the details but hopes this amount is enough. So what does this unknown adventurer think deal? Hearing the word unknown, a small smile creeps onto Yun's face. He picks up the money bag with a huge grin, asking if he just needs to give up the Duke's assignment. Jeju looks absolutely bewildered while John smiles. Cut to later that night in the forest. Satan's asking what the hell that was. Do they really want war? Ellie says if he'd been honest from the start, this wouldn't have happened because sincerity is sacred. Yun smiles, saying everything worked out fine, plus he got paid. He's thinking the GM Group changes everything. They 100% want to exploit the war, either by joining military ranks or making some deal with Duke Burhen. Either way, not his problem. If war breaks out, it only helps him. But now he's changed his mind. He's not going to sit around and let some rich brat get rich. It just won't sit well with him. Then he turns and goes, guys, I've made up my mind. I'm going to kill Duke Burhen. Satan's jaw drops, but Ellie's hyped, saying, finally, Our boy's doing something honorable. Satan freaks out, asking why this idiot's gone completely insane, why kill him? Can't they avoid trouble for once? But Ellie cuts him off, asking our boy when he's challenging him to a duel, adding how this is the chance to keep his promise to Count Brocken. Yun sighs, saying he's told her 1,000,000 times he can't challenge him to a duel that causes more problems. They need to do this quietly and unnoticed. Ellie's face immediately drops. She turns away, saying that he can't count on her help. She'll see how he manages without her power. Yun's like, wait, what? That's not Ellie. Calls him a coward, just taking someone's life without letting them say goodbye to loved ones. In that case, she won't even think of using heavenly power. Yun's panicking, saying she needs to be reasonable. They're clearly in the wrong here. Maybe overlook it just this once? Satan looks at them both, annoyed, then gets an idea. His face lights up. He calls our boy, interrupting the negotiation with Ellie. Satan told him that he's ready to help if Yun doesn't mind demonic power. Yun looks shocked, asking if Satan's serious. Satan nods, saying that he too can give him the divine descent power. Then, without wasting a single second, he creates a magic circle with his hand, asking if they should start. The circle appears on the ground under Yun. System windows pop up, saying he's entered an agreement with the demon world and can temporarily borrow demonic powers. So another system window pops up, and Yun's grinning, saying this is actually fire. Satan floats up next to him, asking if anything's catching his eye. Yun's nodding, hyped as hell, saying this is way better than he thought. Like, heaven's powers are all about brute force and smashing stuff, but these demonic powers, they're loaded with utility and 1,000,000 extra abilities. First time seeing this setup, and our boy's already sold. He turns to Satan like, yo, why didn't you mention I could do this? Would have been nice to know I had options. Satan just shrugs all casual, saying Yun never asked, so he didn't bring it up. Plus, he wasn't even sure Yun needed this kind of power anyway. Yun stares at him like, bro, what gave you this idea? Satan's like, what? You should have asked about it. Yun turns back to the demon catalog, saying choosing feels like online shopping, and he's living for it. He points at one demon, saying that one looks solid. Satan peeks over his shoulder, curious why that specific one. Yun mentions he had read about this guy in history books back at the library. Ellie flies up to check out his choice, and her face immediately drops. She's thinking, oh no, it's definitely him, the Legion of Death, the Lich Argamer. This Lich is literally one of the main necromancers of the underworld, a cursed warlock who drowned an entire continent in absolute nightmares, wiping out a whole empire and 4 kingdoms like it was nothing. Wherever his armies showed up, everything died. Even hundreds of years later, people still talk about him like he's the Grim Reaper himself. Cut to Yun chilling on a rooftop, scoping out something below. There are 2 guards doing their regular patrol, and Yun's thinking how these guys aren't strong or anything, but they're perfect guinea pigs for his first test run. One guard looks up, noticing something weird. His buddy asks what's going on up there. The worried one tells him to check that rooftop himself. They see this creepy silhouette against the moon, and one of them says it doesn't even look human. Yun activates Divine Descent, Lich Argamer, and boom, his whole appearance transforms. Both guards immediately sense this crazy energy shift. They're staring up at Yun, yelling who the hell he is and what's happening. The system confirms Argamer from the demon world has successfully been dropped into the player's body, and he can temporarily use all this character's powers. Yun's standing there with this sick skeleton mask, looking down at them. He's smiling, saying, yeah, this is exactly what he expected. These skills are absolutely cracked. One guard notices dark energy starting to swirl around, thinking that's definitely black magic, and pretty high level at that. In that case, no holding back time to go full power. He yells to his partner, saying there's no way they can capture this thing. It's way too strong. The other guy points out they won't be able to figure out who it is then. His buddy snaps back, annoyed, saying they're clearly not in any position to worry about that right now. He pulls out this massive sword, saying one raw move and this guy could easily break into Duke Burhen's mansion. Yun looks at them with this evil grin, dark energy radiating off him, saying it's showtime. He activates a skill that creates 2 massive energy creatures that go charging straight at the guards. One guard's gritting his teeth as bright energy appears in front of him. He slams his sword into the ground, activating Holy Shield to block the dark energy. Yun's a bit impressed, saying this guy's actually smart. Guess those rumors about Duke Burhen's guards being the city's elite are legit. He watches the guard channeling energy into his sword and leaping toward him, thinking a paladin just showed up to the fight. The guy unleashes this massive wave of bright energy, saying whatever Yun's planning ends here, he's got to die. He uses Divine Release, Blade of Justice, and his sword explodes with insane holy energy. Yun smiles a little, saying if that's all he's got, he's about to be real disappointed. He casts Spirit Spear with this crazed look on his face. Immediately, this huge energy demon materializes above him and straight up impales the paladin with its spear. The guy stares down at the energy spear going through his chest with pure horror, trying to say something with his last bit of strength. His body's shutting down, and he manages to choke out through tears. This guy's a necromancer. His buddy saw this and decided to bolt, yelling and trying to alert other guards. But he doesn't make it far because our boy got him too. Then he casually goes, "Arise," talking to himself about how necromancers are vulnerable but only until they don't have their summons, and everything changes after that. No matter how strong he is right now, he doesn't want the entire guard army rolling up on him. He uses Undead Rise on both guards, channeling his energy to raise them from the dead. He pumps massive amounts of dark energy into their bodies. Their whole appearance changes from the skill's effect. The system pops up. Entry-level Undead Zombie Warrior. Mid-level Undead Death Knight. Yun looks at his new undead servants, telling him to like the video and help Mamoru to make juicy content and activate that cheeky little bell.